Well,
Wow, right off the bat. Right
first
off
sound
the
we hear
bat.
after the theme song is a fart.
That's
It's a big
the
wet one.
equivalent of Leviathan Den saying first,
That's right.
and they are first. Subscribed
They are the first to
for
be
9
sure.
months. That's a 9-month subscription. We appreciate you. That's really
Oh
something.
gosh,
That's a
thank
long
you so
time.
much. That's a lot of episodes. That's a lot of months.
It is a lot of months. In fact, it's 9 of them.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. I mean,
That's enough for a baby.
yes, you've brought this subscription baby to full term. Now it's goo-gooing and gaga, and you did it. We thank you, Leviathan
It's your
Den.
problem.
You're the real deal. Yeah, now it's your problem. Now, if this show dies, you will go to jail.
That's right. You are responsible. Leviathan Den has also redeemed talk about this. How
DrawBomb came to be.
Long story short, if you want.
It's not that long of a story, honestly.
Yeah, it's not
But,
crazy.
Unless we go the long route. So
I was born.
August 28th, 19... That's exactly what I was doing. Further back. Alright, well, we've talked about it in parts on the show, but we met in an animation group for...
That's right.
I would say most of the people there were like kids, younger folk,
Yeah.
learning
We were
to animate
teens.
and Flash. Yeah,
Young lads.
Clock Crew. Some of you may be familiar, some of you may
Y'all
not.
may have heard of it, or probably not. It's pretty obscure.
And we became friends there because we had a similar art style.
That's correct.
And we collaborated on a few different projects and animations and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we continued to do that for a number of years. We had a comic called Waterlogged that hopefully will return at some point, but currently is on a long coma hiatus. And in the meantime, we also came up with DrawBomb. We did it originally probably a couple years ago now, or a few years ago now.
I would say about 3 years ago. No, 4 years ago.
That was when we originally did it. We had a lot of
Very
fun with
spur
it.
moment.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, hey, we have the ability to do this, let's try it out. And it wasn't like, I don't know, there was really no plan to it. Not that there's much of one now either, but...
There wasn't even a schedule to it originally.
Yeah, it was whenever we felt like it.
We would do like 2 6-hour episodes in a day sometimes.
Yeah, we were having a lot of fun with it because it was new.
Yeah.
It hadn't become a huge burden like it is now yet.
Yeah,
So we
gosh.
were like, let's do, whenever we felt like it. And sometimes, it was multiple episodes a day. And then we got busy and fell out of that a little bit. And then we were like, hey, that was fun. That thing we did like a year ago or 2 years ago. What if we did that on like a regular schedule? And the rest is history.
His story. Or her story, depending on like who you're talking to.
That's right. Let's crush the patriarchy.
That's right.
This show
and that-
is 100% male, which is just a sign.
We haven't even had a woman guest on yet, but...
I've tried to get Morgan to be on the show. She says no.
I've tried to get my friend Sydney to be on the show. And she also... Well, she's just been busy. She's hard to get a hold of sometimes.
I was like, Morgan, help me crush the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Still, nothing. So, here we are.
Come make herstory with us.
So yeah, that's the herstory of DrawBomb.
That's right. And what a herstory it was. Gosh, that's it. I actually didn't even expect you to go back to the beginnings of the friendship. I did it. You did it. You really gave the comprehensive guide.
There was one detail I left out of the herstory. It was when, about 9 months ago, Leviathan Den subscribed and then he just kept doing it.
Kept on going. Kept on trucking.
And we really appreciate that.
Trucking those blues away. Leviathan Denton says, dude, I would love to guest star sometime, even just through voice doesn't have to be drawing. Well, that's fine. We've had folks.
You think you're gonna get out of drawing if you're on this show?
Yeah, you're gonna start
That's
drawing.
funny.
Like, we've had friends who don't draw.
We've forced them to draw. People to draw with a mouse.
Yeah. You wouldn't be the first non-artist that we forced to draw a complicated picture of the Vitruvian Man.
It's where your art career would begin.
Right.
Potentially, I don't know.
Yeah. I am having a dickens of a time drawing this.
You're not even drawing the friggin' truck.
No, have fun with that, man.
You know the thing that's hardest for me to draw in the world is vehicles. And here we are.
It's hard. It's not easy. It's this mustache. It feels like it's necessary, but it's also hard because I'm terrible.
Here's a fun fact. So yes, it feels like a firefighter needs a mustache, but did you know that they really can't have facial hair because that way their mask won't seal flesh?
Oh.
So it's a myth. But I agree. I had a buddy that became a volunteer firefighter for a little while, and I was like, "Well, you have to grow like a thick caterpillar mustache." And he's like, "We're not allowed to." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. Actually, I know a few friends who have become firefighters, and you know, well, the one he hasn't become a firefighter yet. He still got his facial hair, so I'll have to ask him. But a lot of the folks who I worked with in the rafting center went on to become like paramedics and firefighters and things like that.
Nice.
Because I guess they were like, oh, rafting's terrifying, like trying to save people and stuff, doing that. I might as well go even more hardcore.
Might as well do like rafting except in fire instead of water.
Yeah.
Rafting is more terrifying. Well, no, that's not true at all. I heard the words coming out of my mouth. No.
This activity that people sign up for funsies.
The thing I was meaning to say was the dynamic's different because you're trying to like people pay to do this and you're trying to keep them safe and alive. A fire, like they're happy to see you. Anything you do is going to put them at a better advantage to where they were before you showed up.
True.
I'm not. Yeah, fire is definitely scarier though. That's not. I said that wrong.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But you know, it's interesting because when we were rafting, like if somebody got injured far enough down the river, we were like, okay, well, like only option we have is to finish the trip because we can't have a helicopter just come down and scoop us up out of the river.
Ooh, I got rafting questions now. We're going down that rabbit hole. Okay. Unless do you have a rafting rafter confidentiality?
No, pretty much anytime anything fucked up happens on the river, the newspapers were all over it anyways, so.
Okay. What's the worst thing that has ever happened on one of your tours? You don't have to name the company you're for, but just like, what's like the biggest like injury you've seen on your watch? Not necessarily your fault, but.
Right. So
something you were party to.
So thankfully, I haven't had to deal with anything too insane.
Great, that's a good answer.
I have had people get like head injuries and stuff on the river, and I remember the one time we were going down, and all right, now I'm gonna look up pictures of fire trucks real quick. We were going down the river, and like this dad, like in this family, like hit his head or something like that.
The whole family hit their head?
No, just the dad.
Oh.
And so like they had to like give him an express evacuation sort of thing. So like what basically happened was somebody loaded him up into their kayak, and then they just paddled that person down like the river to like the pickup point so that they could get them to the hospital.
Right.
And so and it was on like the bad section of the river, obviously, because well, we had like we had 3 sections of the river. One that we called the family style because it was basically just like a float trip. You just fucking chilled the whole time, except for like one rapid at the end, and that was never a big deal anyways. And then we had the places we called the gorge and sort of the in-betweens. I forget what we called that one. I think we called it the upper gorge. But those were the parts with the more intense rapids and things like that. So we were on the gorge. They took the injured person on the in their kayak and then paddled down the river. So then the person who was I feel like there's a lot I had to explain, sort of, but an average trip was about like 120 people with 4 guides for the whole trip.
Oh wow,
so
that's pretty wild. I wouldn't guess that.
Oh yeah, no, it's very minimally staffed. Of course, like some groups would like pay to have more guides on the trip with them, but that was a standard like trip of people. And for the 4 people, they all had a specific position. There was the point who went in the front and pointed out the rip. Like basically, you were in the front on your kayak, and you were just kind of keeping an eye on all the lines, like where the rocks were, where the rocks weren't, what was like for the water level of that day, where was the best route to go. Since you were point, the people behind you were just like normies who didn't raft every day. So you would be like taking the right routes that they could follow you and set like an example. It was basically like a chain reaction. Like the point would go the right way, the raft behind them would go the right way, raft behind that person would go the right way, so on and so forth.
Makes sense.
Then you had 2 people. Yeah, you'd have 2 people who would just kind of go back and forth throughout the trip and solve problems the whole way. And those people were called the roams because they roamed back and forth. And then you had a person in the back who we called the sweep. They were the river janitors, and basically like their job was to be the last person off the river no matter what. Nobody like could, if like they basically had to make sure that if somebody got stuck, they were there to save them.
And get left behind.
Yeah, exactly. Like so they weren't like some other trip's problem. And I've done all of those positions.
Okay.
And they're all. I was usually made the point guide because I was really good at going down the river, and the people who were like in their like as in the off season be like signing up to be firefighters, EMTs, all that stuff. They were like these people can be the janitors or the roams because if something goes wrong, like it's an EMT right there.
They're
That's
training.
kind of yeah, it's like the best situation for that person who gets injured to have like an EMT right there. But I mean, I've also done sweep and roam plenty of times. I've had a lot of time on all 3, but they usually hired me to do point. So anyways, the person who is there's also always a trip captain, and they're the person who is in charge of everything. They're running the show. Which is also a position that I was trained to do, and I was doing that for a number of trips, mostly on the family section, because again, it helped to have an EMT on the harder sections as your trip captain, because they could make sort of better decisions. But again, I've also trip captained trips on all different sections. So, anyways, this is a lot of backstory. I'm sorry, but
no, I'm fascinated about the world of rafting.
There was a lot there. It was crazy. Anyways, person gets a head injury. So the trip captain says, I'm gonna put this person in my kayak. Or no, they didn't put them in the kayak. They put them, they jumped in the raft with the family because it's a lot faster to be in a raft with like 5 capable people paddling. And then he would sit in the back and steer the boat, give them orders and stuff like that, so that he could get the whole family off the river, get the dad to a hospital. So he gave his kayak to the roam who was behind him, as he basically like sped this family through the river. And so then that person was paddling with 2 kayaks. I was the sweep on this trip actually. And so then something else happened. I forget what exactly, but it wasn't as serious. But the person who had the 2 kayaks had to go do something. They had to jump in somebody else's raft. I think like a kid fell out and got hurt during one of the rapids or something like that. So then that roam gave me their 2 kayaks. So then as the sweep on that trip, I had to paddle my kayak and then 2 other kayaks attached to it, which makes, I don't know if you know this, it makes the kayak twice as heavy.
That makes sense.
You have, yeah. So I was like, you know, 1 kayak is fine. You're paddling your body weight basically in like a little carbon fiber thing. But 2 kayaks, you're paddling 2 carbon fiber things on top of your carbon fiber thing, and the river's trying to carry those carbon fiber things away as you're trying to do whatever you're doing. And then this one family, it was a single mom, or it was a mom, and their husband wasn't there. I'm not sure what the situation was. She got stuck on a rock, and her kid, who was in the raft, was sitting in the raft, and the raft was stuck on the rock too. So I had to get my kayak and the 2 kayaks I was attached to hitched up on a rock, and then I had to jump over to the rock that the mom was stranded on, get her in my kayak, and then I had to paddle her, me, the 2 kayaks, and my kayak over to the raft where the kid was stranded and get her back in the boat. And then I had to attach the 3 kayaks to that raft, jump in the raft, get them caught up with the group, and then I had to basically see to it that the rest of the trip went as smoothly as possible, again, without making sure anybody...
and you know who that kid turned out to be? Albert Einstein.
Brandon Chapman. Oh, wow. What a story. But yeah, that was probably the roughest situation. We've had situations before where, like, people have gotten lost. Like, we would do a thing called the Big Day Out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, they started hiring me after a while to do something called the Big Day Out, which was a 25-mile bike ride, a 1.5-mile hike up and down a mountain so people could see like the top of a waterfall, and then the family-style trip all rolled up into one trip, and they paid me more and they fed me lunch, so I was like, yeah, fucking give me the... And also it was just kind of fun because riding your bike for like half a day is a good time, and then you just sort of speed through the family section. So I would get hired to do that a lot, and people would oftentimes just get lost on the mountain because they were dinguses, and we'd be like, okay, follow the path, stay with us, don't go wandering, and people would just fucking
Everyone thinks they know better.
Yeah.
And also, they're like, they'll come find me, whatever, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and so like we're on the bus, ready to go start the rafting trip, and we're taking head count, and we're like, we're missing 2 people. So then, like, we had to spend an hour. Everyone's just sitting on a bus waiting as we're, like, running up and down this mountain looking for these 2 people.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was not a good time. And then actually the person who was the captain for that trip stopped doing the Big Day Out because it just...
I wonder why.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a thing that happened sometimes. And, yeah.
I went whitewater rafting one time, and I understand why they did this, because they're trying to, like... They're trying to, like, keep you... They want to, like, you know, make sure you're listening, so they try to shock you. But the guy was, like... when he's giving you, like, the warning spiel of, like, why you need to be careful, all his examples are, like, the most horrific things ever. And he's like, I've seen it a million times where somebody falls out of the raft, the foot gets under a twig, and their leg just snaps like that. And then... You know?
I mean, you're
then they almost
snaps like that.
Okay, that was how they talked too. So maybe they were being serious, but I was just like, oh, okay, they were.
Well,
I mean, I wasn't like goofing around, but I'm just like, I feel like they give you the worst possible scenario so that you're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna do everything they say. I'm scared.
Yeah, the safety briefing is like 100 times scarier than the actual trip, but it is important, especially the foot entrapment thing. Is like I had to give that speech like 50 times or something like that, but I was always like coming up with new ways to sort of emphasize how much you if you're in a river and you're getting carried down by the river, do not try and stand up like in a rapid, like because your foot will get stuck, and then you'll just, as we phrase it, you'll be doing push-ups for the rest of your very short life. And that's foot entrapments are no joke. Actually,
it makes sense why that's a danger. I have a very I did this when I was like almost a kid, and I very much remember that exact like line because it made a core memory.
Yeah, it's. Have you ever seen the movie The Gray?
Yeah, isn't that? Yeah, I have.
Yeah, so one of the the very last person So spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen this movie. Liam Neeson and like a group of researchers in the Arctic, their plane crashes, and then they're just trying to fucking get home while a bunch of wolves basically kill them.
Pick them off.
And nature is picking them off too. And so towards the end of the movie, Liam Neeson and like the only other guy who's alive are like heading down a river, and the guy tries to stand up in a rapid after they get carried down, and he gets a foot entrapment. And
I forgot about that part. I don't remember them going down the river. I saw the movie.
Yeah, I think I think they get washed up in the river or something like that. I don't remember why they ended up in the river, but they definitely didn't want to be in that river.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a very real scenario that can happen. That and fucking what's it called? Shit, it's a strainer. Strainers are terrifying.
What's the strainer?
Strainers are like a fallen tree or like a big ass branch or something like that is basically over the water, and like where a rapid is going. So basically what happens is if you hit that tree branch or that tree or whatever, your raft it gets pushed up on that branch, and then the river current like essentially suctions the raft around the branch, and so then the raft is just like being pushed by the water and like caught up in the branch. And if you're like in a bad spot on that raft, you could end up basically being stuck in the raft, being pushed by a big wall of water, just getting drowned by that.
That's not ideal.
I actually had a situation where it was in the family section. The family section was not dangerous, but there is a strainer that we have to keep people away from. So we usually post somebody up to stand in the river right before where the rapid starts, where that strainer is, and just push people to the opposite side of the river. And the one time, this group of like 5 dudes was just carrying on, not really paying attention. I was like, whatever, they're having fun. And I was like, hey guys, watch out for the strainer, watch out for the strainer, and they just weren't listening. So I was like, okay, well when they bump into me, I'll just push the raft over. No problem there, I don't even have to yell. So that happens, and then my foot slips.
You pushed them into their death.
They died, yeah. No, but what happened was the raft bumped into me, and as I was about to push it, the ground under my foot gave away, and then we started to get carried into the rapid into the strainer. The raft gets wrapped up on the tree. Everyone's off the raft, thankfully, hanging on to the raft as I'm trying to figure out like what we're supposed to do, and I see like a bunch of spiders like climbing out of the tree like towards the raft and stuff, like wolf spiders.
Not the biggest threat, but to you, that's a big threat.
Well, I mean, they're wolf spiders. I mean, they were if they bit us, it hurt like hell. They were just terrifying. But so we're hanging on to the raft, and like I'm trying to figure out like what's the best course of action. And like the one dude who was in the raft was just like, should we like let go or something? And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And so I tell us all to let go, and we're starting to get carried, but the raft is like still there. And then thankfully the guy who is the sweep comes up on his kayak and says like, hey, it looks like you could use some help. And I'm like, yes I do, thank you so much. And so then they helped us all get through, got us through that little rapid right there. We made it through the end of the trip, and fun fact, you're supposed to tip your guides. And then so after the trip, the people in the raft walked up and gave me a $20 bill, and they were just like, man, like they are not paying you guys enough for what you are doing. So here you go.
And you're like, $20? Neither are you. What else you got?
No, I mean, it was nice of them to give me an extra.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, but
that's very kind.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for saving our life.
Yeah, they were cool in my book for giving me that 20. I mean, I was ambivalent either way. They were nice people. But yeah, so.
And no spiders got you that day.
No spiders, thankfully. I have had there are a lot of times where I was on the river, and spiders were an issue.
They love to live on rivers.
They love to, yeah.
Seems like a good spot for a spider. I mean, there's a lot of bugs.
A lot of bugs. There's a lot of.
And they live on a net.
Places. Yeah, they live on a net. Although, like, if you one wrong move and you're a spider going down a raging river and you're dead.
Yeah, but a spider can basically like float. on top. They're so light.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like.
Well, not.
They just like.
I don't know, dog. Have you ever seen a wolf spider?
Yeah, I have. I'm pretty sure I have.
Terrifying and enormous.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, aside, the other spiders that we would see though, those were light enough to float and things like that. And snakes too. We'd actually get a lot of river snakes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I believe that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Can't think of.
When we're drawing firefighters, we should be drawing rafters. I feel like.
No, it's. I mean, it's whatever. Fun fact though, a lot of the people who were the rafting guides during the wintertime when the rafting center was closed, they would go to the local mountain and be snowboarding instructors and stuff then. They were just always, and they were like always living out of their car in like there was like a lot that we were all parked in, and like half the time we would either like finish a trip and then just have a huge like drug-filled party, or you know, people would just like crash in their car in the parking lot, and like on a couple of occasions, like we've had people wake up and be like, yeah, there was a bear just like poking its head through my tent. And it was
bear country.
crazy. Yeah, we were in bear country. Brown bears, black bears, they were all over the place. Mostly black bears, I want to say.
What other colors of bear?
White bears, green bears. There were red bears. Those
Gummy
were the best
bears.
flavor. Yeah, I was heading towards gummy bears.
Leviathan Den says, have you played or have you tried Gartic Phone? Yes, we haven't played together, but we both played separately, and I think we're gonna. I mean, if we did the show more than one time a week, I would be all for playing games more often. That's the only reason I feel. But we should definitely do an episode where we do some Drawful or some Gartic Phone or some other Jackbox type thing.
It's hard because you gotta have like the quantity of people for those sorts of games. Like
we could get a couple friends who would be interested in joining us, and then we could include some of our viewers as well.
I'd definitely be down to include viewers. It's hard to get more than a person viewing the stream, but I'm definitely down to play Gartic Phone sometime.
We usually have a few.
We have a couple, yeah. I at the same time.
4 right now.
Simultaneous? Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I've played Gartic Phone the one time with a group of like 8 people, and there the results were the most fun because that was the most people I've played that with, and they were all like animators, so we did like the Gartic Phone animation game that they kind of have with it. That was a lot of fun.
That's all
fun.
I got.
Yeah,
well, I would love to play on the show once if we can figure out the logistics. I think.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good time.
So, Ian, how has your week been?
Gosh, personally, I mean, I have nothing going on in my life anyway, so it was fine.
That's great.
Not a whole lot happens in the life.
You didn't ask, but I'll tell you how my week was.
Oh, I wasn't going. You don't have to. Let's move on. How was your week? How did it go?
It was good. I don't know. I was so insistent in talking about my week. I didn't have much either. Worked a lot, but
it's fair to get an even distribution of the week recaps.
That's right. I feel like that's important before we talk about movies and how much we hate Jeff Bezos for the rest of the episode. But
exactly. Before I start talking about fucking King of the Hill for 2 hours.
I pressed the wrong scream. I meant to do that first one.
It felt
that first one is from the finale of King of the Hill, where Hank Hill falls into a wood chipper.
A pit. Yeah.
But not much this week. I did today go to a 2-year-old's birthday party, and I feel like I just did that a couple weeks ago. I did.
You did do that actually.
I know multiple 2-year-olds, but in a year I won't know any 2-year-olds, so that'll change.
When you told the first story, you made it sound like you don't normally go to like parties for 2-year-olds.
I don't. I have a niece and a nephew that were. Yeah, it's this new thing I'm doing this year. For my New Year's resolution, I said I was definitely going to more 2-year-old birthday parties.
Brand, would you like to take a seat here? Would you like some lunch?
No, I'm good. I'm good. But no, I have a niece and a nephew that were born within a couple months of each other, so that's why there's a trend going. Don't worry, next year I'm only going to 3-year-old birthday parties.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just upgrading.
Yeah.
That's the thing
I think that's why I was inspired to draw fire.
Parties. Sorry,
What? I feel like we should pause for that.
That's the thing I like about 2-year-olds' birthday parties. I get older, they're serving cake, and I get to eat it.
Yep, there you go. That's actually the same joke I was going to go for.
Okay, good.
There was a lot of fire truck themed things going on, so that's why I jumped to fireman. You know,
Fire truck?
little boys, they want to be firemen until
That's
they get
nice,
old
because,
enough and they realize the actual challenges involved in dangers, and also they learn they don't have insurance, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
So then maybe not.
Yeah, it's firefighters don't get paid a lot. They don't.
Do
They
full-time firefighters get paid pretty well, or no?
I have no idea. A lot of the friends who I know who are firefighters were like not full-time firefighters. I don't wanna
Right.
say
I've only known volunteers.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like the one friend of mine who he's a good friend of mine in Philly. We met because he was like my manager at the bank. He has taken firefighter training and has basically just been waiting for them to be like, all right, come on in.
Fight some fires.
Fight some fires, dog. But he's I mean, if he's willing to leave his management job at the bank to do that, you know, it's got to at least be somewhat better than or comparable to a bank manager. I mean, also I hated working at that bank, and I would probably jump into a fire too if I had to like manage a bank.
I mean, you're like, sorry, I got a better job. Pays less, and I'm surrounded by fire, but it's much better than this.
The people who I deal with are much nicer because I'm dealing with money.
They're actually happy to see me.
Yeah, exactly.
Shiny dog. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no. I said it. It said it's out there. They say it's a good dog that you drew. That's
right.
A good dog.
Yeah, that's a good boy. You can tell from the way that he is.
What's his name?
I don't have anything clever.
Sparky.
I was trying to think of Sparky. That's it. I was trying to think of a fire-related dog name.
Yeah. Royal. Wrong.
Good,
says Shiny
good.
Doggy.
It's not Sparky.
It's
good
not
Broil.
Sparky. It's Hydro. Oh, that's a great dog name. Hydro.
Yeah, that is a good name.
That's a good name.
You want Hydro there when you're fighting a fire.
You do, actually. Yeah, you want Sparky away from the fire because they're just going to feed it.
Sparky starts fires.
Yeah. I would watch an animation called like Fire Dogs, where it's just a bunch of dogs accidentally like setting buildings on fire by being.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say where they fight fires, but I think that's Paw Patrol, right?
Yeah, that is Paw Patrol. I'm pretty sure.
Do they actually do like those jobs, or do they just wear the uniforms and hang out?
I
feel like you wouldn't want to put too many dangerous scenes in a child's show.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, shit. Like, all sorts of kids shows I watched had them like almost dying every episode, and like, somebody trying to take over the world.
That's true.
I don't know. I have a friend who her kid's like favorite show for the longest time was Paw Patrol.
A lot of kids like that show.
I've asked her questions about Paw Patrol in the past. I've been in your position.
And she's like, "Stop texting me. It's 4 a.m."
Yeah, she's like, "No, get back to work," because she was my manager at the restaurant too. Well, she became my manager eventually. We met working at the restaurant. Well, actually, we met because they were my neighbors. And let's tell another story.
The plot thickens.
Shiny Doggy says, "Ian, I would 100% make that short with you. I gotta write it in that Google Doc. I'll put it in the Excel spreadsheet." When my brother and I, for senior year of college, we moved into like this one place really close to the school, and so we were like hanging out the one night, and we got like a ring in our buzzer, and we were like, "Hello, who is this?" And they were like, "Hi, we live in the same building as you, and we locked ourselves out. Could you help us in?" And we were like, "Okay." So we let them in, and then we found out that they lived in the like door right down from us. And so we were like, oh, cool, that's so funny. We've never actually met our neighbors yet. Well, it was nice meeting you. I'm glad we were able to help you out. Okay, bye. And so then we went back to doing our thing, and then like an hour later, they came in with like a case of beer, and they were like, we thought we would say thanks for helping us out and drink beers with you guys. And we were like, yeah. So we just spent the night like drinking a whole case of beer, all four of us. And then I eventually needed work. And so I was like, hey, you guys have shown me the restaurant you guys work at. It looks pretty nice. Could you put in a word for me and maybe I can get a job there? And they're like, sure. And I got the job at that restaurant. And then I found out that like the girlfriend, now wife, of another friend of mine had been working there the whole time too. And I didn't know it. So I was now working at the restaurant with like 4 people I knew. Just through like the neighbors who both worked there and my friend's then girlfriend, now wife.
Small world.
Yeah. Rating with
Maddie
a
F
party
in
of
the chat.
3 people.
Oh my god!
Oh my
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Oh, look at those emojis right there. That's great.
I haven't seen
love
those ones
that.
yet. That is
Me neither. That's a new
that's
one.
the Maddie F special right there.
That's right. That's the shield that you drew, the Deku shield right there that I posted in the chat.
Yep, I drew that one. The other one, God drew. That's Maddie F's beautiful face.
What if God drew all our faces? Oh my god, what is happening with that old bomb man in front of the truck?
Oh no, he better hurry up.
Matty F says 3 whole viewers. Well, look, hey, we probably had.
You just
about
quadrupled our viewer count. Or tripled our viewer count.
Tripled.
Quadruple is that one's hard to quantify.
Yeah, well,
thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks, Matt, for bringing over your precious resources. Oh.
What? Gifting people subs? Oh my goodness, this is.
Who is this guy?
Generosity on.
Who the hell?
We've had. It's our 2nd subscription of the day. My goodness.
Oh man, you know what happens when we get to 3? We're not even gonna say it out loud because it's an event.
I was gonna say we get too big for our britches and we start, ordering lavish meals.
Right.
And,
I'm gonna order a filet mignon if I get a third subscription. Vampleb13, thank you for following.
Thank you so much. I know who Vampleb is too.
That's awesome.
I'm not gonna give out names. It's Morgan. Yeah, okay. I wasn't gonna say the name. Shiny Doggy also says Beetlejuice, Beetlejakes.
It's a good thing you didn't say it in the same voice because I think that's how the rules work. I think if you say it differently, you're safe.
Yeah, I think you have to say it right. It's like Rumpelstiltskin. He's like, hey, say my fucking name backwards. And she was like, I don't know, man. Or no, it was, she just had to say his name. I don't remember the story. Is that what
I was going to say, you had to say it backwards? That's like, he's like, damn it, everyone gives up, no one's able to do it.
I'm actually buying.
What is Rumpelstiltskin backwards?
Oh shit.
Yeah, let me look at it.
Okay, you do it. You do that. I was combining Rumpelstiltskin and the old X-Play sketch.
Tackadaddy followed us.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for following us.
Thanks for the follow, fella.
Why didn't you follow us before? That's my question. Come on.
I thought we were Terraria homies.
We were friends.
Yeah.
Nix Stlissilbrer. See? There you go. Rolls right off the tongue. Not gonna try that again. Nope.
Okay. Have you ever? I've talked about this before, but I know how to say ramen noodles backwards because I used to experiment with reversing my voice.
Did you put that on your resume that you know how to do that?
Yeah,
of course you did.
Yeah. Nemar Soldin. you gotta say it backwards though. So you gotta be like Nemar Soldin.
Yeah, you have to say it in the weird demonic Latin. I guess not Latin, but I'm just used to hearing things backwards. Sometimes when I play certain records backwards,
Yeah. Tacky Daddy says, I honestly thought that they were following us. And Matty F gave us 100 bits. That's a whole $1.
That's so kind.
you guys giving us money for what I call very subpar content.
All we had to do was draw a fire truck and say Rumpelstiltskin backwards, and now we're rolling in it.
That's right. I can't believe it. How far we've come.
I've come really far.
I didn't take a yardstick to it. Usually I. I'm not gonna continue that.
I'm always trying to beat my high score. That's all I can.
Yeah. It's like the long jump, except the sand is becoming more and more firm.
I go. I get my tape measure and my black light, and I record it for next time.
That's right. Black light. Oh my gosh, are you looking for ghosts?
Ectoplasm.
That's right. Yep, that's what I call it. Oh my god. Okay,
oh boy. It's not that kind of show.
It's not. Well, it kind of is sometimes, but it's generally not. I promise. But I was listening to My Dad Wrote a Porno, and the one episode, like, as the series goes on, the dad becomes like. It's obvious that he feels like he can't use the same word to describe something like multiple times throughout any of his books. So like he stops using words like penis and like semen and things like that.
He's trying to build his verbal, like, yeah, exactly. He's trying to mix it up.
Yeah, so the one episode he calls, and then the person shot pre-people all over so-and-so.
Pre-people, come on.
It's like so horrifying, like the choices that they end up making.
That's upsetting. How to make something instantly not sexy anymore.
Well, that's the whole point of the podcast. It's supposed to be like sexy books, but the writing just kills it at every potential like opportunity.
Maddie F is dropping some dirt boys and wet boys in the chat.
Yeah. Morgan says, "Why is one person coloring in the lines and the other is coloring like my 3-year-old?" Well, to be fair, you didn't just go to a 2-year-old's party.
That's true. I picked up too many traits from them. I want to be a fireman now, and I forgot how to color.
I did.
Morgan, thanks for the critique. Next time, maybe consider keeping it to yourself, huh?
Yeah,
We thought about that.
Jesus, the kind of verbal abuse we put up with.
You know, I do the show for free, and this is what I get.
We don't get any money.
Well, we did get 100 bits.
That's true.
So
we got 100
the
bucks.
filet mignons are on their way.
Filet mignon.
Filet mignon.
Filet mignon. You just seem to be countering the efforts of each other. A little bit, yeah. That happens a lot. There's a lot of back and forth. Oh, I thought you were doing this. Oh, I thought you were doing that. Like, I had colored the ladder in white, and now you just made it red. You motherfucker!
Oh no, I didn't know that. Collaborative art is not a popular thing for a reason.
It's hard. It's really hard.
You know,
especially doing it at the same time. A lot of people will be like, "Here's the sketch. Do the lines."
I'm assuming my landlord hired some collaborative artists to paint my house based on how well they did.
They didn't do a very. I like your house. I thought it was pretty.
I like my house too, but I mean, I feel like every place I've ever rented, they're like, "All right, we have 5 minutes to paint this entire place," and there's just like no tape, like trim is just like someone. It's like that episode of SpongeBob where they pop a bubble and it just like blasts the room with paint, and that's how they paint the room.
That's accurate. I've seen. Have you ever moved into an apartment where like there's a light switch?
Yes.
And it's just painted completely solid brick.
In fact, I think I live in one right now. Pretty sure
is there one?
They paint over everything. Just everything's. We repainted one room, and when you took like the wall socket off, it was just like peeled the paint with it because they didn't take it off. God. They just paint over everything. We're on time frame here.
It's interesting because like you obviously have to repaint the walls sometimes, I guess, because like shit happens, but eventually there's just so many layers of paint on that wall. Like, what do you just like start over? Do you just get a new wall? Like, how do you Oh, Maddie F says, "Acknowledge me." Okay, so Dirty Boy.
He gave in to his demands.
I did. I mean, he posted a bunch of dirty boys and wet boys, and also faces in your chat. So
Luigi and himself.
Some Hassan slams, some Hasanabi.
Oh, is that who that is? I didn't know.
Yeah. Who I had a friend who they were talking about Hassan, but they said like Hassan Piker, and they're like, oh, you know, I'm assuming you know who that is. Like, sometimes I just assume that everyone knows everybody, and I was like, I don't know a Hassan Piker, but I have a friend who's very into a guy named Hasanabi. That's the only Hassan I know of. And he's like, no, that's the same guy. And I was like, oh, how funny. Morgan says, don't feed into him. You already acknowledged that. And he's posting more stuff. Oh goodness gracious, our chat is being overflown with
the Matty F army. Overflown.
Overflown. That's like when you miss the mark and you drive past the airport. You fly past the airport and your captain's just like, excuse me, everybody.
If you look to your left, that is where we were supposed to land.
I'm very scared now. And look to your right. There's the Grand Canyon. Oh, you
Critics. Everyone's a critic.
Oh my gosh, I need to share
oh, come
on! Yeah, I need to get my soundboard up and running so I can contribute to the vast cacophony of sounds that we have going on.
Wow.
Except the love raid, he says. I wish that Owen Wilson WoW was a little louder, because sometimes I feel like people spend the points and I miss it, and then I feel bad that they spent points on something completely inaudible.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, it's happened again. Why does a floating bomb keep appearing and punching us? It hurts so much.
We always draw him in the beginning of each episode to appease him.
And then he beats us up. Why? So cruel. What a cruel world we live in.
I want to make more of those, but at the same time, if we have like 30 of them, I have to remember what all the sound cues mean, because we hear like the noise, and then I'm like, alright, I have to remember like who's player 1, who's player 2, what's about to happen. Fortunately, there's only one right now, so that's easy enough.
Yeah.
But in general.
You're player 2, right? Is that how it goes?
Yes, I am player 2.
We should have just made it been like Brandon, Chapman, fight.
Yeah, but I just thought since it was already the gaming thing, I thought player 1 and player 2 would be funny.
That's fair.
I thought it'd be funny. That was the mistake that I always make.
You dumb idiot. I would love to have some Street Fighter sounds in the mix. Be like, like they have like Street Fighter 2 had like some of the coolest sounds. They'd be like, a lot of arpeggiated like.
Oh, I love that noise.
Sounds.
I don't actually know what you're talking about, but it sounded cool when you did it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Gosh, we have so many people being active in the chat. I don't even know how to respond.
We appreciate it. I think we're doing an okay job.
I hope so. My goodness. We got the light arrow in the chat now. I made that. I made that emoji. I made that.
You made this? I made this.
I made that. By the way, Matt, you were playing Mario 3 Randomizer. Is that correct?
That's right. I want to watch. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet, but I want to join in.
I watched his last randomizer stream, and I think what's most interesting is that it doesn't look like it looks like it's. And I should have known this when I was like before I'd watched it, but it's like the levels are just switched around. Like I thought for some reason like it was just gonna be pure chaos. And,
well, I've seen how his Zelda randomizers go, so I assume the same thing.
Yeah. I just assumed like enemies would be different, like the songs would be different, which I guess the songs are different sometimes. And levels are switched around, as are enemies and item boxes. Yeah, I finished earlier than expected. Oh, did you beat the game? Did you win? Are you winning, son? But yeah, it looks fun. I had a good time watching it, and I was most impressed that Matt would be like, "Oh, this level. Oh, we gotta expect this to happen." Like, you know the levels in Mario 3, and I played a lot of Mario 3 as a kid, and I don't even have that sort of memory for the game. So
Matty F knows his Mario 3 levels, let me tell you.
I love it because every time Matty F is playing a randomizer, like when he's playing the Legend of Zelda randomizer, he's like, he knows so much about the game already, which I feel like I guess you have to if you're going to do a randomizer. Like, if you go into a game with the randomizer and you're sort of like, I don't remember much about what happens in this game, like, you're going to have a bad time. So it's always interesting whenever you do the randomizers because you're so knowledgeable about the games, and like, you're like, okay, well, if I go here, I get the Deku Shield normally, but if I go here, I get this doll. And so I think it's just impressive that you know so much about the games that you're randomizing. That's all I got. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
We got Extra Attack RPG in the chat says, Broad Dom, my beautiful Broad Dom.
My beautiful Broad Dom.
Extra Attack is famously dyslexic, but we love him anyway.
That's correct. They are dyslexic, and they are not able to handle mouth sounds. So let's get a whole bunch of lips in the chat for
Lips
Extra
in
Attacks.
the chat.
Lips in the chat. Lips in the chat. For Extra Attack's not fear, I guess, but hyperfixation, sensation.
Discomfort.
Sensitive discomfort. Hyper discomfort with mouth sounds. Wet boy, wet boy, wet boy, wet boy. In the chat. Morgan also says that they want more Mass Effect from Matt. Me too, because you murdered Kelly, and I want to see the consequences of your horrific mistake that you've made.
I wish Matt, for once, would give the people what they want. Just once.
I know, right? Always disappointing me whenever I watch all of his streams. And exactly what I want. The second one is true, says Extra Attack. They do have misophonia, and people are posting lips in the chat. I'm gonna post a lip too. A lip or two.
Just one or two. Don't overdo it.
Yes.
Don't overdo it now.
Oh. And somebody's asking us if we want to be. Do you want to be famous, man?
Boy, I never thought about it.
Me neither.
How long will it take?
Yeah, Gitakug 24B13 Ulk 15. How
us
long
more.
will it take for us? Yeah, tell us. Inform us.
I think I'd like to be famous.
I wouldn't mind being famous.
No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Whenever he starts doing that, I just have to let the Steve Carell.
Yeah, we all just get quiet to listen to it. It's good.
You just gotta let it play out. It's no use talking over it.
Why would you
yelling.
even?
Yeah. Matty F says well worth the 200 points.
Good. Good. I'm happy you feel you got value out of that.
I'm glad. Yeah. We don't have a whole lot of value to contribute, so we appreciate when people get it. Leviathan Den says hydrate. I don't have my water bottle, but I do have this beer.
I have scotch, so I guess this is the opposite of hydrating, but there's liquid.
Yeah. This is actually this will dehydrate you, and that's what gives you a hangover.
Yeah.
So you be careful, folks. Scotchy scotch. I like scotch. I've actually started listening to the Ron Burgundy podcast a little bit.
How is it? Yeah, actually, that's a good topic because I have a podcast I started listening to too, but I want to hear about the Anchorman podcast or Ron Burgundy podcast. What's that like?
It's alright. I mean, I don't have too much to say about it. I've only listened to a couple episodes because I listened to it while I play Assassin's Creed. But it's fun. It's interesting because it's, Will Ferrell being Ron Burgundy, and then they have like a woman who I haven't remembered her name yet, but I'm not sure if it's her real name or if she's basically playing a character too.
Come on, Ian.
Feels very scripted.
You're not helping us crush the patriarchy when you forget.
I've only listened to 1.5 episodes so far, so I haven't.
Extensive notes.
They're not like. It's not like in Titanic where they're going like, oh Jack, oh Rose, oh Jack, oh Rose. Like I don't hear their names like every 10 seconds, so it doesn't quite stick yet. But,
You know, you shouldn't feel bad. I work with people that I've worked with for months that I still don't know their name, and I'm nervous that it's gonna happen where they're gonna like, somehow it's gonna be like, I have to say their name, and I'm gonna be like, oh, whoopsie. Here's the thing, I'm a piece of shit.
That's me at family reunions. Is there's like so many like
Like, oh wait, what's that name again? Oh yeah, mom.
Yeah.
Grandma.
Okay. Hi, Grandma. How's it going? But like, there's just so many people who I see like less than once a year sometimes. So
Yeah.
I'm just like whispering. I'm like, who's that again? It's like, oh, that's Uncle Jerry. Don't bring up his bad leg. It's like, okay, well, I wasn't going to until you brought it up. But
Now I have questions.
yeah. But I feel like a piece of shit because I'm just like, I don't remember people in my own family's names sometimes, and that's terrible. But I also
Uncle
see
Jerry, what's with the leg, my man?
Oh God, they were serious about don't ask about the leg. But yeah, I've also worked with people sometimes, and like I'll have worked with them for months, and I'll have like a brain fart, and I'm just like, oh God, is that person's name Nicole? I don't remember. Hey, Nicole. Oh, thank
Wow,
God,
so you
it is
just
Nicole.
go for it.
Yeah. Well, I go for it.
I do like the
sometimes.
hey you or the, you know.
Yeah, like hey buddy.
It's a good thing I know none of them are watching this show, so I don't have to worry about them using this knowledge against me.
Why don't you give us the names of some of the people whose names you don't know?
See,
Just
that's
list
the
them off.
problem.
Okay, well, one is Doomslayer. The other.
No,
is
I'd remember
Captain
that.
Max Sparrow.
And you know, I'm working on this ineptitude. I'm working on it.
You're working on it. Well, that's good. As long as you're striving to improve.
I'm trying to be a better person.
Oh, hey, we have Sen Z in the chat saying, "Oh, this is so cute." This little drawing we
Thanks.
have here. I do think it is cute, except for the fact that a old man is about to be turned into a paste. Apparently,
That's what you think. You know, he might be very nimble. He might do a backflip over the truck. It might be awesome.
Oh, I would love to see that backflip over the truck. They were just trying to. They knew that the old man was capable of it. This was their motivation the whole time.
Yeah.
Was driving.
He
the
hangs
fire
out
truck
in the street so that
Yeah.
he can just show off his acrobatic abilities.
Yeah, he's like the characters in like kung fu movies where everyone's just like, oh my gosh, that person's over there up that hill, and the person who is like the main character in the kung fu movie would be like, ha, watch this, and then they'll like take the stairs like you've never seen anybody take the stairs before, but they're like more efficient than normally taking the stairs, and then they'll be up in like 2 seconds.
It's got to be
Jackie
exhausting
Chan-
hanging out with anime characters. You're like, we get it.
Yeah.
You can fly around and
goodness.
shit. What do
We got
here?
another gifted sub.
Oh my
What the
gosh,
heck?
Sensi,
Thank you so much,
thank you so
man.
much.
Oh my gosh, we have people gifting subs left and right. This is fantastic.
They like us. They really like us.
Oh god, I feel so
Oh
loved.
my god. And Sensi subscribed as well.
Oh my
Oh, man.
goodness, thank you so much. God.
Instead of one
I
filet mignon, I'm thinking of stacking two together with like
was gonna have
make a
some
sandwich out of them where the bread is filet mignons.
I was gonna have a filet mignon between two salmon patties as like the bread. That would be a good right here. Gosh, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I always feel bad whenever people give us money because I'm like, there's no way what we're doing is.
We fooled them into thinking this is entertainment.
We conned you. We got
Suckers. The whole lot of them. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
you. Yeah. And then Maddie.
We
asked
feel
for
the
some
love
more
today.
boys.
More wet boys.
More wet boys. I'm just gonna go through the chat real quick. Extra Attack
Yeah.
says they're worse with the birthdays. They always forget everyone's birthday.
Oh,
Same
yeah.
Here, I am.
Impossible.
I have the other like earlier. It was Brandon's birthday. Last.
True. That happens almost every year.
Yeah. Usually it's pretty consistently it happens. But I finally added his birthday to my phone because I've had one too many occasions where we'll be spending the whole day with Brandon in person, and then you'll be like, it's my birthday, by the way, at like 11 o'clock, and we'll be like, but.
Gotcha.
And it's jarring when you've basically been trying.
In your
to show
defense, it
somebody
only happened one time, but
it happened in one time.
I found it fun that I managed to make it all the way to the end of the day.
You eluded us.
That's right.
And then Extra Tax says, why would I remember anyone's names or birthdays when instead I can remember the entire lore of Kingdom Hearts? Yeah, right? Like,
That's the disgusting part of it all.
yeah, I can.
I have
can,
so
like,
much useless
list-
knowledge.
Yeah, yesterday I was streaming myself playing The Sims, and someone was talking about like how they don't have all the expansion packs, which I have all the expansion packs. And they're like, which ones should I get? And I just like ran down a list of like the pros and cons of like each expansion pack for The Sims. Like, but also I don't know Uncle Jerry's name, so what kind of person am I? You know?
If you have any questions about breeding frogs in The Sims, Ian's your guy.
It's true, I do a lot of it.
If you want him to remember your name after knowing him for his entire life, you're asking too much.
Get out of here. Get the frick out of here with that crap.
Oh, I'm sorry. I colored. I thought that part was white.
No, it is. There's like little stripies. Although I'm realizing now I'm looking at a toy truck. So you know what? I'm
Well,
actually gonna get rid
you know
of
what those are based on, huh?
G.I. Joes. Right? Did I get it?
And I think there was one G.I. Joe who was a firefighter, probably.
There probably was. Yeah, you're right. G.I. Joe.
You know, these people that go to sleep thinking everything's fine, they wake up, they're on fire. That was one of
I
those.
see they wake up, they're on fire.
There was always the one.
Yeah.
Pork chop sandwiches! Get the fuck out! We'll have to post that in the Discord. This is a good time, actually, where everybody's here. Join the Discord, why don't you? We're trying to make that a thing more than it is. I'm trying. I forget how to do it. You go ahead. There it is. Nightbot, you always got me.
You scamp.
Nightbot is a weird character. He's a robot that hangs out at night.
Yeah.
That's our bidding.
But yeah, we usually post links to the things we're talking about on the show. I'll post links to the best Fireman G.I. The Fireman G.I. Joe videos are my favorite ones.
Yeah.
Both of them are great.
Real quick to cut you off, Maddie F says, gotta go. Love you, my special boys. We love you too. Thank you for popping in, bringing some of your viewers along with you.
Yeah, thanks for posting Wet Boys in the chat. That's much appreciated.
Yeah.
What layer is this? Shine. Oh, there it is. Okay. Just a real quick catch up chat. Senzi, when they did the subscriptions, they said, I always like your guys' art, and then they posted a really fun emoji. I appreciate you saying that. That's so nice of you.
Very kind.
Thank you so much for supporting us every step of the way. So what is going on with this thing I'm doing here? What? Sorry, the draw pile is acting very strange with the erasing all of a sudden.
Yeah, always blame the draw pile. Always blame the draw pile.
Look, okay, like it's always draw pile's fault.
Leviathan Den says, pork chop sandwiches would be a great soundbite to add to your stream. Yes, absolutely, I'm going to do that.
Do we still have slots? Because I know the sound alerts has like a limit on the amount of...
Yes, but we could swap out one that maybe doesn't get used as much, or I could just put it on my own soundboard and hoard it to myself.
Oh, yeah. But if you hoard it, then people are going to say...
Come on!
They'll say...
Come on! And his come on! And his name is come on!
They'll say all that? That's a lot to say. It's a mouthful.
Yeah, they'll go... Come on!
I'm gonna save this drawing. Are you good with it?
Oh yeah, I have nothing else working.
Alright.
On that. Extra Tax says, put bacon in a single slice of cheese in the center of 2 fillets, like some kind of messed up KFC double down. That's a great idea.
Hell yeah. That's what we're gonna do, and now that everybody's subscribed, we never have to work another day in our life.
That's right.
And it's all thanks to you guys.
Oh, now I'm getting punched. I tried to fake out the bomb, but it didn't work.
I like that.
got me.
your reaction to about to getting punched in the face is, oh, now I'm getting punched, and then that's like immediately when the fist started hitting you in the face. That would really psych someone out who's actually trying to kick your ass. You're like, oh boy, I'm getting punched now, as he's like hitting you in the face. It's really happening.
Boy.
This is the pits. I hate this.
It sure is
Shoot.
the downside of the down point of my day.
My face is not loving this.
Oh boy, my cheekbones are gonna have a lot of healing to do after you finish this brutal pummeling you're giving me.
This is gonna sting tomorrow.
Oh boy, just very blasé about the whole game.
That's smarts.
Oh geez, ow, owie.
Alright.
Did you not go?
Have you thought about not doing this?
Yeah, please, sir. Extra attack says, by the way, I say I'm a computer from time to we do too. We will frequently
Help,
bust
computer.
out. Stop the downloading.
Hey, kid. Alright, so what should we draw today?
Oh my gosh, does the chat want to see anything in particular?
Yeah, if you guys have some ideas, we'll shoot down most of them, and then we'll pick one, and it'll be a fun time. So let's see what you got, and I'll look for a prompt in the meantime as well, in case that the audience is feeling a little shy today. That happens from time to time.
When I googled fire truck, two of the results near the very top are like links to a dude in like a weird overall. It looks like a kids show host, but I guess they're like a YouTube channel. And he's like,
oh, I see what. Okay, yeah. Okay, I know what you're looking at. This is the character you're speaking of, Blippy.
Like,
and I'm sorry to say I know what Blippy is. Referring to I hang out at. It actually is. It's thanks to that child that I know about Blippy. It's like a kid's YouTube character. He like is straight up like, "Hi, I'm Blippy, and today we're gonna go see how fire trucks work." And then he just kid YouTube is a rabbit hole. I don't know if you've ever watched a kid watch YouTube. I remember when we were kids, there was like Teletubbies. Well, that was after we were a little bit older. But like, I remember people being like, "What the fuck is this? This is like a trip." And kid YouTube is like, Teletubbies seems pretty tame once you go down the rabbit hole of kid YouTube.
That's 100%.
Shiny Doggy says Elemental Dogs. Extra Attack RPG says G.I. Joe Furries.
Well, we could technically combine the two.
I like Elemental Dogs. What do you think about that?
I do like Elemental Dogs. I'm imagining.
And it was first.
So, first of all, let's pick an element. Dog Force. Cowboy Influencer.
There's a lot of good options here.
Prompts. Yeah, these are some good. Why don't we just go down the list and see if we can.
We could do a vote for the audience could vote.
Here, I'll get a poll going.
Leviathan done it. It's very specific, but I like it. A jazzy cockroach drinking fine whiskey. That's fun too.
What do we draw?
What the heck does we draw?
G.I. Joe Furries, Dog Force.
I feel like giving them the power is going to be a mistake, but we should do it anyway. They're gonna make us pay for it.
Well, they did already pay us, so it's the least we can do.
It's true.
Jazzy cockroach.
Have you ever exchanged money for a drawing of a G.I. Joe furry? No. Well, actually, I shouldn't answer for you. Maybe you have. There's a real market for these things on the internet.
You're right.
So.
Never paid money for a G.I. Joe furry. I can
all right, everyone. Oh no, we that might be what happens. The vote is live. You made it 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of realized that that's too long of a time, but
well, we'll draw something in the meantime while everybody's. Make sure you vote, everyone watching.
Yeah.
Take time to vote. Your vote is very important.
Shiny Doggy says, if I had $1, I'd have $2. I don't know if that's how that works.
Oh, look who's rich. They have to brag about the $1 they have. La-di-da. You think you're better than me?
Bills here. Yeah, you think you.
Well, they're saying they already have they already have $1. If they had another dollar, it would put them. They would double their profits.
How could I have been so foolish? Well, folks, it looks like it's yet another moment of Ian made up boo-boo.
Why are we celebrating the boo-boo? It should be like something like... No, not that. Wrong song. We're getting drunk with our power at the soundboard here.
Yeah, this soundboard was the worst thing that could have happened to this show because we're just morning zoo territory at this point.
Shiny Doggy says, I meant if I had $1 every time I commissioned a G.I. Joe furry drawing.
Oh, okay.
They have $2. So they have 2 pieces of art they've commissioned.
G.I. Joe furries.
Boy, it's
what would be...
Jazzy Cockroach with Fine Whiskey and G.I. Joe furries are tied right now. Elemental Dogs in a close 3rd place.
Look at that. So let's talk to the audience for a real quick second. What does everyone feel about elemental dogs? Interesting.
Wow, audiences. I guess that's what it sounds like when you have 7 people watching the show.
Yeah, and they're very jazzed about it. How does everyone feel about G.I. Joe furries?
Yeah, the audience at the end, they were like... cutting out. The audience, like, they clap and then they just stop for a second.
Yeah.
Wow.
How does everyone feel about Dog Force? I'm doing it anymore.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know, I'm just clicking it. How about Cowboy Influencer? Yeah, Dougie says that glitch messed her up.
Alright, and
finally,
the last one.
How are we all feeling about
Wow.
the Jazzy Cockroach with a whiskey?
How cute. Aww. Alright, here's the thing. We're tied right now. We got G.I. Joe furries and a Jazzy Cockroach. It's tied. We need someone to... Someone shut this crowd up.
Sorry, they're all being held hostage right now. Those are screams of fear, not of happiness.
Alright. Well... Oh. Elemental Dogs just took an unexpected lead. Now with 4 votes.
Oh my goodness.
Wow,
Folks,
that was what an upset.
This is a close... I haven't voted yet. Have you voted?
I haven't voted. Should we? Oh my gosh, just went to 5.
That was me voting. That's the one I want to draw.
All right, Elemental Dogs it is.
I think it's unless somebody. Yeah, we're gonna go with Elemental Dogs.
Yeah, we're there.
Alrighty, so.
Just to make sure we don't do the same, what element do you choose? I mean, we can do more than one, but. How about I'm gonna go with fire.
Okay, I was gonna do electricity.
All right, perfect. People in the chat, please join us. Draw an elemental dog. Post it in the Discord, and we will show it on the show when we're done.
Yeah, draw along.
No.
We're introducing a interactive element into the show.
And don't feel rushed either. If you don't get it done in time, we'll show it whenever you do post it, or next week, regardless. So
Yeah,
join us. Join us.
Join us. All right, I'm gonna take the left side. You can take the right side, and I'll start drawing an elemental dog. So, you said you were listening to a podcast. I talked about the Ron Burgundy podcast a little bit. How about?
I actually just started listening to a new one yesterday that my friend introduced me to. It is called Radio Rental. It's probably pretty popular. I'm probably like the one who didn't know about it. But it's like a paranormal horror story podcast. Rainn Wilson actually hosts it. I listened to like 4 episodes where I was like, that sounds so much like Dwight Schrute. It sounds so much like Rainn Wilson. And then after a little bit, I finally looked it up, and he actually hosts it. But it's like Tales of the Crypt style like hosting. So he's like this weird character that's like, welcome to my rentals. And he's like, I don't know, but it's endearing. It's weird. But anyways, the show is all real stories told by the actual people, and
Oh,
Like the
interesting.
sound design's really cool along with it, so you get really immersed, and the stories are all pretty creepy. And a lot of them are true stories. I mean, they're all technically true stories. I guess you have to buy that these people are telling the truth somewhat, but also for a lot of them, like if they're based on like real serious things, they have like some backup like news stories and stuff to kind of go along with the thing that they witnessed that ended up being like a real serial killer or something like that. It's pretty interesting,
Oh, wow.
and I recommend it. It's really gripping stuff. It's kind of creepy.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. I like a good I like podcasts where I like learn stuff while I'm listening to them.
Yeah.
Like things that are about things that are better about you know, fun science experiments or just real life stories are always interesting to me because I think it's interesting to hear about real things as much as it is to hear about fake things like stories and stuff. So that's cool though. I dig that.
These stories are all, I mean, at least from the people telling them, they're told, they say they're real. And a lot of them are, like, provably real, because they're, like in the first episode, this one guy talks about a time he was on a plane as a kid, and a guy tried to, like, hijack the plane, and was, like, overpowered, but then at the end of the thing, they go into, like, news stories showing that this was actually a real thing that happened. This was just a guy who's an adult now who was a kid on the plane when it happened.
Oh wow.
And, like,
That's
they're not
so
all as, like, some of them are more, like, ghosty and spooky, but that one is just one
Right.
that's just, like, actually, just, like, a scary...
It's terrifying. It's ordeal
Anecdote.
to, yeah. In the chat we have Shiny Doggy says rigging the election, choosing to play sound clips instead of rigging the election. Better man than I. And then we have Extra Attack says I have Ian draw enough nonsense for our channel so I don't need to force G.I. Joe furries on him, but I sure would like to. Hey, look.
We're not saying it's not going to happen at some point.
Yeah, look, it can happen. Like, we do this show every week. You can just come back in next week and say G.I. Joe furries again, and,
It'll be back on the table.
we'll be back on the docket. And
Usually
then Shiny
I
Doggy
do
says,
most of my furry art off the air, you know?
Yeah.
Private time.
I do my furry art, and then I throw it in the fire, so that nobody can know my secret and my crimes.
I just put it all in a safe, and then I'm willing it to my distant relatives for when I die.
All my furry art goes in a warehouse, like at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Like a forklift carrying it off in a big crate. What's rent like at that place? That sounds expensive.
Oh, it's so expensive. Like the bills the money we make from DrawBomb does not cover the warehouse bills. That is for certain. Shiny Doggy says, "Tell us your ghost stories now." Do you have any ghost stories to tell?
I've never experienced any ghost, paranormal, stuff. I've never actually experienced it. I've heard a lot of stories from friends and stuff. I've been near things that people said they have seen or heard. I haven't actually witnessed any ghost stuff. So I'm not a non-believer, but I'm also a little bit of a skeptic just because I haven't seen it myself. And it's not like I think everybody's full of shit. It's just one of those things that, like, before I have a real opinion on it, I gotta see it myself, you know? I think that's fair.
Yeah.
For anything that maybe bends your entire view of the time and space in the universe, you should probably see it yourself. Probably.
Your perceptions of physics and...
I have a lot of questions as soon as I'm open to it. As soon as I see a ghost, I'm not gonna try to say, like, nuh-uh, but...
Yeah,
but,
if a ghost... You know how, like, in the movies, people will be like, oh my gosh, there's a ghost, and there's that one character who's... There's no such thing as ghosts. And then, like, they'll have the ghost appear, like, in their face, and then they'll still be like, oh, it must have been an electrical surge or something like that. Makes the wind shine through the window.
No, I'm there for it. I've actually, like, growing up, I had one of my best friends. He had this house that was famously haunted. At the time, we lived out in, like, we live in the Midwest, and we lived in a rural area, so, I mean, that's probably true about all schools. I mean, if movies are telling the truth, but, like, his house would be like the party house. He'd throw parties all the time, and everybody had, like, a lot of people had ghost stories from his house, and it was just, like, you know, famously in the town, like, this was just, like, the house that was haunted. And I like I'm serious when I say like I'm all for it. I want to see this stuff. If it is real, I would love to see it. It sounds amazing, like very interesting to see.
It would shake my whole perception of
yeah,
death and all that stuff.
I was really good friends with him. I hung out with him a lot. So there was a number of times I was at his house, and I remember one night, it was after a party, so I was maybe like, might have been a little liquid courage to encourage me to do this, but I was like, all right, I want to see this, because I've heard all these stories. So everybody was asleep. I went down to his basement. Like, this was where like a lot of the activity was reported being seen or heard. And I just hung out in the basement for like a couple hours, or maybe, probably wasn't a couple hours, honestly. Probably like an hour.
That sounds boring.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But I probably stayed down there for like an hour, and I unfortunately didn't get a chance to see anything. I'm not saying it's not real or that it wasn't there, but all I'm saying is I'm trying to prove that I am interested in trying to be open to seeing something.
You're a skeptic.
I just haven't had the chance yet.
You're not gonna go foo-fooing on everyone being like, oh,
I'm only skeptic because I haven't seen it yet. I'm not like calling other people like bullshit. Right. Yeah, Shiny Dog says you were too thirsty for Ghost. Exactly. They know I wanted it too much. They're like, nah. You gotta work for it.
Yeah,
it takes the fun out of it for the ghosts, I have to imagine.
Yeah, I imagine ghosts, they get like a thrill off of being covert and secretive. It's like people who like have relationships and they're like sneaking around being like, oh, don't tell, can't tell the people at work about our relationship, otherwise it's, or I don't know, whatever. It's more thrilling to keep it on the DL,
That's no fun for the ghost if they're like, boo, and I'm like, cool, and they're like, all right, now I'm embarrassed as a ghost. I'm gonna go back to the Shadow Realm or wherever ghosts hang out when they're not knocking around like chairs and flipping light switches and shit. Yeah.
Or whispering in your ear.
Saying get out.
Yeah. So I have a pretty crazy ghost story.
I'm not sure I've heard this. I'm very excited to hear this.
This one time, me and a couple buddies, we were in a high school, an abandoned high school, and I was using a parabolic microphone to listen for the ghosts. I'm making a phasmophobia joke. I don't know
okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any real ones?
No, not at all.
Oh,
I wish
damn
I did.
it.
That'd be fun. Yeah, no, I've not been graced.
Sorry to whoever asked us that, because I feel like everybody has a ghost story, and you found the two guys that don't have anything.
We're just we're too logical.
Well, I mean, maybe I've heard, and this is me trying to be like open to the whole thing. I've heard you have to be like
I have to believe
open.
It's like the Polar Express.
That's right. I think Polar Express is bullshit, and that's the reason that I've never seen it.
That's right. I've never seen that train.
I've never seen the DVD. I walk around the Blockbuster, and it's not on the shelf.
Yeah, unless you believe in that Robert Zemeckis movie, you're not going to.
Unless you believe in Uncanny Valley Tom Hanks, you will not see it.
I don't have any ghost stories. Let's catch up on the chat real quick.
Okay,
I'm sorry we could.
Yeah, that's a really disappointing answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I like that Disney is fully aware of the not safe for work fan art of their properties. Are they aware of that stuff? Like, what have they done?
I don't know what they've done to show they're aware, but they have to know about it.
Yeah, like I have to assume they're aware, but I'm not sure what they've done to basically specifically point out, like, hey, we know that you guys are drawing the rabbit from Zootopia fucking. Can you not, please?
The way they wrote that implies that they've responded to it, so I'm curious to see that.
Or they've made some sort of joke in one of their movies or something along those lines. Let's see. Shiny Doggy says you've never seen a shadow you could feel. I mean, I feel shadows all the time. Usually, if I'm in a shadow, it's colder than not being in the shadow. I feel like that's about the most I felt a shadow, I guess.
I've felt like creeped out and stuff.
Yeah, like if I'm in a dark area, I might be. There's
times I feel uneasy or like creeped out, and I'm not sure why. So
I've never.
I don't know if that's a spirit or something. Maybe it is, but I've never. That's as much as I can say about it. Is that sure I've felt spooked, but I've never seen anything that would seem like a ghost to me. I've seen ghosts with Patrick Swayze.
That's a lot of fun.
So I've seen that Ghost.
Is that a movie we should watch for bad movie night sometime? Ghost.
I don't know if sure, it might. I think it's a decent movie. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's some
I guess
weird, dumb scenes, but I think it's an okay movie.
I'm just thinking, I guess in general, like we were talking about watching Roadhouse for bad movie night, and Patrick Swayze's. That's an incredible movie, though. I love that movie. We do have some ghost stories in the chat. I feel like I should go through
awesome!
These
Yeah,
quick.
please do.
I
love to
also,
hear
real quick, Zone Dog says, which intro did you play? We haven't set up the... so I did a bunch of remixes of the intro theme song for us to play during the intro and outro at random.
Yes.
We haven't set it up yet, though. But I do have
here next week.
Remixes, so. Yeah, and that's when we'll start the... we do have a channel in the Discord, which I'm going to post the link once again. So if you're a music person, you can remix the DrawBomb theme song, get it added into the running, and we will play it whenever people send in their remixes of our theme song.
if you send us a remix, we will definitely use it on the show. And also, if you just make other music, feel free to post it for us to listen to.
Yeah.
I
happy to,
can't give you a professional opinion, but Ian, and also I'm not gonna put this on Extra Attack RPG, but they're a musician as well. They may drop their opinions. They're active users.
Extra Attack is a much more legit musician than I. So if they're ever in the chat and they are willing to, they can provide some excellent feedback on whoever's musical endeavors.
Can't guarantee you'll get feedback from everybody. All I'm saying is, you're surrounded by some people with knowledge of this. I'm not one of them.
So yeah, we'll be starting that next week. And we'll be having some fancy new theme songs for everyone to listen to. It's all the same tune, it's all the same song, it's just different. Morgan says, we grew up in a house that a guy was murdered by his wife and her boyfriend. We didn't get much, but a few closing doors and flickering lights. Interesting. Shiny Doggy says, I don't know if you can demand to see things. They probably picked up on that. You were 2/3. Oh, that's the stuff you were reading before.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's probably true. I don't know. I just was desperate. Everybody has a story except for me.
Yeah. Extra Attack says, I don't believe in DrawBomb, so I've never seen it. I just message in the chat every week. That's got to be the weirdest thing then when it responds back.
He opens the page, immediately pauses the show so he doesn't have to watch it, and then he just talks in the chat.
Yeah. Extra Attack also says, I'll send the Disney not safe for work awareness in the Discord. Alright, I'm gonna check that out. I'm curious. Okay.
Yeah, if it's something I should put on the screen, let me know.
It's a Twitter link, or it's a Twitter screenshot. I once asked Jeff Good, creator of Jake Long, American Dragon, at a furry con, how do you feel about people making lewd art of your characters? And he said, oh, Disney sat me down and showed me a bunch of Kim Possible porn and said, this will happen to your show.
Weird.
Yeah. That's a weird meeting to have. It's like, hey,
it seems
here's
unnecessary.
Some porn. Yeah.
Like, everybody knows that's already gonna happen, so like, why do they? I feel like that's like, it's like some guy who works at the company that's just like, no one asked him to do this, but he just feels insistent on showing. And then somebody else makes a show, and they just show Kim Possible porn. It's always Kim Possible porn.
It's like you're making like the new G.I. Joe reboot, and they're like, okay, here's some Kim Possible porn. And it's like, why are you showing me this? And they're just like, I don't know, do you like it?
I drew it, I just want your critique, Jesus. We're all artists here.
Like an
So sorry.
Be so judgy.
Just look down on me?
New G.I. Joe guy, God. Oh, and then there's a person who, it's like a Tumblr, so it's a Tumblr post with a Twitter screenshot, and that Twitter screenshot was the first thing. And then the Tumblr post that is posting the screenshot says, 3 things I find hilarious about this. 1, Jeff Good goes to furry cons. 2, Disney acknowledges and prepares show creators that their show will most definitely become porn. And 3, Disney has examples on hand of how said show will most definitely become porn. Yeah, I feel like
I bet you the computer that he brought it up on, he has to go to a folder called like
homework.
Taxes.
Yeah. Let's see, there's some more. Zone Dog says they ain't afraid of no bed, which is good because I don't believe in beds. I've never seen one, and I don't believe in beds. So do not try and get me all hopped up on your bed jargon.
What do you sleep on? Or is that too personal of a question?
I sleep on a floor. I mean, there's no I don't believe in beds. There's no alternative to something that doesn't exist. So clearly.
Well, some people say they don't believe in a thing, and that doesn't mean they don't think they exist. Although after the ghost
That's true.
chat, that's part of the thing. Never mind. Anyways, continue on.
I don't believe in sex before marriage. I just don't think it happens.
There's no way.
There's no way. That's
No way
so
that shit's
weird.
real.
It's
Unbelievable.
like a slimy worm. Like, why would you let that anywhere near you? Anyways. Leviathan Den says, me and a buddy at a bar in the woods in Harrisburg once, which had an older Native American burial behind it. We stepped out of the building for a smoke and had just finished bullshitting, and were able to hear in the distance eardrums and Indian chants on the hill above.
Oh.
Well, that is quite the story. That's like, isn't it the plot from a Stephen King movie? All of that.
There is a movie with an Indian burial ground, also known as Poltergeist.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird trope, isn't it, though? Like the Indian burial ground.
Yeah,
like
I'm not. They don't do that much anymore.
It
Seems pretty racist to use that as your like spooky. That's your like evil essence. I mean, and granted, don't be building your stuff on there.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. I mean, sacred ground should be respected and stuff like that. If it's like it's a cultural thing. It should be, more appreciated.
Yeah. On the flip side, as someone with no soul, feel free to build on me.
Oh yeah. I go by the classic Frank Reynolds line, like, once I'm dead, I'm just a body. You can burn me, you can eat me, you can bang me. I'm just a corpse. So I go by that rule. Like, you can do whatever. I don't give a shit. Leviathan Den says that's just one of a couple of ghost stories that have happened to them. Extra Attack says, I'll listen to anything, and I'm trying to get better at Discord. Well, Discord is it's definitely an experience to learn it. I only got better at Discord because of the pandemic. Like, before the pandemic, I was like using Discord to talk with my friends when we were playing games, and that's about it. It's only since the pandemic happened that I was like, oh, there's servers and like things to go on. Like, I had never, like, I've become very Discord usery in the last year or two, and I wasn't before that, so it's interesting. And then Shiny Doggy says, someone did furry art of one of the shows I was on. They pulled it up like every morning meeting. Wait, so they worked on the show and they were doing furry art of the show, and then like they'd be like, okay guys, what we got for today, what's on the docket? And then they would have like their laptop open and be like, okay, so hear me out. It's the main character, but we have a dog. Oh, okay, no, we found it. Well, they found it. Okay, I gotcha. So it was
Maybe
like
that was like that's how you start the meeting. You're like, all right, here's what we got. Here's what the fans are saying.
Yeah, it's like you pull it out. It's like, okay, so I don't want to freak anybody out, but I found this last night, and it's just it's the characters. They're wearing leather jackets. They're
that's all they're wearing.
Doing. Yeah, I was talking with some folks while we were playing League of Legends the other day, and we were talking about biker mice from Mars.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah, the dude was just like, that show is so horny.
Was it?
And I had to think about it, but I was just like, yeah, that was a pretty horny show. I mean, like, all of the main characters had like their abs showing, and they had like 12-pack abs. And then they posted like screenshots of like 3D models that people have, and people like made and stuff like that. All of which were very horny. Like, it just kind of became like, for a minute, people were posting horny biker mice from Mars fan art for like a second, and I was just like, yeah, this is all pretty horny, but it doesn't mean the show's horny. And then they posted screenshots from the show. It's a horny show.
I'm not doubting it.
No, they
I honestly never saw a lot of it, but I saw a few episodes.
I don't remember it well. I just remember being able to see everyone's abs at all times. They were dressed very Mad Max and like leather and chaps and things like that. It was kind of a horny show, I think.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I don't remember enough to really like put my foot down and be like, "This is horny." It's
Are
like
you trying to stop?
It's
Stop
horny in the way
horny
that
mice from existing.
yeah, it's horny in the way that like Mass Effect is a horny video game. Like it's not like a porn, but it's like Mass Effect is a very horny game because like they have an alien race of all women who they can have sex with any alien species and give birth and all that stuff. They are designed to like and according to the lore of Mass Effect, the Asari, the blue aliens, are able to make the best like pleasurable experience during sex with like any alien species or whatever, which is just weird because it's like
Who's the guy that wrote the book that's like, I've fucked every alien, and let me tell
Yeah.
you, these blue people, the best.
They fuck, man.
They
They're like
know what they're
basically
doing, let me tell you.
They're like an alien race of concubines. It's weird. And it's people are always like wearing like there's characters who like there's one character, she doesn't even wear a shirt, she just wears like straps that kind of cover her nipples as her like main outfit. It's a horny game, and like again, like you're also like basically forced to romance somebody by the end of the game. Like I was playing Mass Effect 1, and like I was just talking to my crewmates because if you don't talk to them in between each mission, like you won't get their full loyalty or whatever, and then they'll just like die during the story. So I wanted my crew to not die. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, my dude's having sex with one of the crewmates in the game, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
HR's gonna hear about this.
Yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere, and it's just kind of weird, but okay. It's a very horny game series, in my opinion.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But let's see. So, you know, Biker Mice from Mars is horny in kind of the same way, I feel like.
So we've drawn fire, not to cut you off, but we've drawn fire, electric, water, ice. Video games tell me that the other elements are what, like poison and like nuclear waste.
Yeah, poison.
These are elements.
Yeah, in Borderlands, in Borderlands 2, explosives is an element for some reason.
Okay.
Even though I feel like it's just like fire with like.
I'll do a poison dog.
All right.
I know that's not an actual element, but.
I had a picture in my head of what the fire dog, the lightning dog's face would look like, and I'm just having a hard time. It's basically like Pomeranian face, in my opinion.
Yeah, I almost did a Pomeranian for my first one, so I'm glad I didn't. I just felt like that had to be the electric dog.
Yeah, and that's what I'm having a hard time drawing a Pomeranian.
That's pretty close to how their face looks.
Yeah, it's not what I wanted it to be, but at some point you just kind of have to give up on your artistic visions and.
Yeah, if you want to learn anything from this show, just remember at some point you have to give up.
There we go. This is the closest I'm gonna get to what I had in my mind. So yeah, horny. Oh yeah. Just to catch up with the chat a little bit more. Extra Attack says your Frank Reynolds is more like Whitey Duvall from 8 Crazy Nights. Is that the old guy? I haven't seen 8 Crazy Nights in like since I was 12.
Yeah, he's the old guy.
Oh, and Shiny Doggy, just as an addendum to their story, they say designers followed the artist and they were so happy that we loved their furry art. So at least you're giving back to the fans and letting them know that their fan art is appreciated.
I would love to hear that all my, Homer Simpson porn I draw would be appreciated by Matt Groening. That would really make my day.
They didn't say it was furry porn. They just said it was furry art of the show. So we can't, we can't.
Art. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. So they just said furry art. They didn't specify that it was porn. But yeah, if you want, just tell us about your Homer Simpson porn real quick.
I mean, it involves donuts. I'm not gonna get into it.
Of course, it's gotta. Does he say don't hole?
Yes, and no, I don't know. I don't got anything else. But you have to subscribe to my Patreon if you really want all these answers. I'm not just giving it away for free.
That's shit.
Alright. You're drawing Poison Dog. I guess I will draw. What's another element? So, like, okay. we've covered video game elements. What are the
You could
elements?
do explosion dog.
Earth.
Oh,
Earth
there's
dog.
Yeah, Earth dog.
Yeah. Oh, and heart. Captain Planet. And wind. Captain Planet is probably a great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll do Earth. Find a good dog that would look earthy.
An earthy dog.
An earthy dog. Or some interesting.
Hopefully,
dog
some
pics
people in the chat are
yeah,
getting
please.
in on this because I would love
Yeah,
this.
check.
I feel like this would be a fun one to see.
Did we ever
If you
show off the other DrawBomb? We showed off the other DrawBomb alongs from last week.
Yeah. So yeah, if you do want to post in the DrawBomb along section. I think we posted the Discord, so
Yeah.
you know where that's at. If for some reason you missed that, let us know. Lexter Attack RPG says groaning, more like Matt moaning. He will be once he sees what I came up with.
Oh yeah. When you started talking about the Homer Simpson stuff, I was just thinking of I think you should leave with Tim Robinson. And the
Yeah,
voice
I
where
know.
he's
That was
just
kind
like,
of
I
homegrown
know these
Simpsons
names
stuff.
better than yeah. X-Tube, XXN, homegrown Simpson stuff, panties jobs. Love that. That's like one of my favorite sketches from that show. It's just such
That's
a
a great
brilliant
one.
concept. Such like I guess my favorite sketches are the ones where like the concept itself is just so smart, where it's just
Yeah.
like dude crashes into the place and he's wearing a hot dog suit. It's a hot dog car, and he's trying to shift the blame off of himself. Like that's a great idea from the get-go.
If you haven't watched, check out I Think You Should Leave. It's very absurd, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
If you like this show, you'll probably like that sense of humor.
Very much our sense of humor. I also every time whenever I was talking about I was playing City Skylines the other day, and I was talking about how terrified I am to drive. And I just posted a link to the scene from season 2 where the guy's like, "Do you know how to fucking drive?" And he's like, "No, I don't know any fucking buttons doing. I'm scared." I'm like, same. That's me. That's me behind the wheel. I hate driving. I can't do it, man. I don't like it. Not a fan of driving. It's scary.
I've driven before.
You have? My goodness. Tell us your scariest driving story.
Oh shit. What was my scariest driving story? So I was driving one time and there was a ghost in my car. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
That reminds me, I have a ghost story. Let's see, I've been in accidents. None of them
Those are
were
scary.
None of them were too scary. They sucked, but they weren't like too intense. I've had close calls. Those were probably scarier.
Those are scary, yeah. The worst part about a close call is like you come so close to death, and then you don't die, and you're just like, okay, well I guess I just have to drive to work now and live my day like I didn't just almost die.
That would have been funny if you would have just left it at, fuck, I didn't get killed, now I have to drive to work.
Yeah, oh man, I could have been saved from work.
I've had people almost hit me by like a hair, like in ways that would probably like permanently affect me, you know, or
Yeah.
kill me. Those are scary.
I think it's really fucked up that we're just like, hey, here's a big ass like metal box of murder, and you're 16 now. Drive around the block, and you're good to go. Now you can drive.
But they're so
Now you can-
convenient.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather risk death every day than have to spend like half like oh we need supplies from town, time to get in the wagon and drive for 2 days.
That's
I'd rather risk my life every single day.
It's you know.
I
it's
drive
very
like a
convenient.
grandpa, so I don't.
Me too.
I would be surprised if I die by a car. Could happen. I'm really definitely asking for it now by
Yeah.
tempting the universe.
Tempted the fates.
It could happen, obviously. Like, usually it's gonna be somebody else doing something, you know. It's
Yeah.
not me.
I used to drive like a fucking idiot when I was like first learning to drive.
Yeah. I used
And
to
I was just
too,
as
but-
scared then. I drive much slower and more responsibly. When I do drive, I barely drive anymore. But when I have had to drive, it's much more responsible now.
And your mother couldn't be more proud to hear that.
That's right. Well, I ride my bike in the city. Like, when I was living in Philly, I was just riding my bike everywhere, which honestly is probably more dangerous than me behind the wheel of a car.
Because a fender bender is now something that you die from. Versus like, oh shoot, now I gotta pay, you know, $1,000.
Yeah. So, you know, it's... But, like, if I fuck up on a bike, like, I die, but no one else does. If I fuck up in a car, there's the potential that, like, somebody else's life has been ruined because of me. And that's terrifying to me.
There's some pressure driving a car.
Yeah.
You gotta pay attention. It's like, hey, I'm trying to catch Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and pedestrians keep walking out in front of me, you know?
What the heck, guys? If the light is green, I'm allowed to go. If you guys didn't want to get hit, you would know that I'm sending a text right now.
Right.
There's so many people who I see like driving and they're just like on their phone texting, and I'm just y'all, you are driving right now.
Happens.
What are you doing?
I was so getting into drawing this explosion that I forgot to actually draw a dog in it. So now I gotta draw just like a dog's face in the middle.
I had the reverse. I was drawing a dog, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be an earth dog. So I'm trying to make it look like its head is made of dirt, and its arms are rocks.
You got a head made of dirt. How about that?
Head made of dirt. Oh dear Tay. Isn't it weird that they gave the one kid heart as an element in Captain Planet?
Yeah. Yep.
It's just so nebulous and non-elemental. And like I don't know what his powers like. They'd show like the other characters, they'd be like wind, and then like a fucking tornado would come and like carry the bad guy off somewhere. But like what could he make the animals like
he'd hug
happy
people
with art or yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Also, in the Captain Planet universe, they actually like one episode they're just like, oh yeah, we're about to pick him up from his special, like he was in special classes, like they made him
Captain Planet was?
Yeah, the Captain Planet kid, like what's his name? And I don't know, but
no, I don't know their names at all.
And I'm sure like it was because like he also had, I think, the most intense accent of all the kids, so maybe it was like special classes like language, like because he maybe like English was a second language or something like that. I don't quite know. But they did imply in the series that, or said outright that he was in special classes, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Let's see here real quick in the chat. Leviathan Den says, any thoughts on the teaser videos for the live-action Rick and Morty with Christopher Lloyd and Jaden Martell? I thought they were all promos. I didn't realize they were actually making something more than that.
Yeah, I thought they were just commercials for...
Yeah, if it's actually something, then I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm against that existing, but the promos are something that I think are funny in the idea of being a promo, but like the actual acting in those, if that was like clips from an actual episode, I like it less, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I mean, as promos, it's like, oh, it's goofy. They have Doc Brown as the guy who's clearly modeled off of Doc Brown. But as a TV show, yeah, I don't know how that would, because like the half of like what they can pull off with Rick and Morty is because they're animated. Like it's one of those shows where like it doesn't work as well, I think.
I think it'd be funny maybe, and honestly, like in the concept of the show, I was like certain, not that I was expecting them to get Christopher Lloyd necessarily, but I was expecting one episode where they like go through a dimension and suddenly they're in some other medium, whether it be live action or claymation or something. I imagine that'll happen. They have like how many seasons already bought for this show, like a decade's worth. So I was expecting something like that to come at some point.
100%. Yeah,
and it may still like in a full capacity if this is just a promo, but I think I'm down to see it. I'll judge it,
Yeah.
I guess, when it happens. But yeah, if those are clips from an actual episode, then I like it less because it seems kind of like not as
Goofy.
good.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like, but as a promo, I think it's a funny idea. And I like the visual of it.
When I saw that it was Doc
oh,
Brown, I was
sorry,
just
keep
like,
going.
oh. That's it. Just when I saw it was Doc Brown, I was just like, oh, haha, they're acknowledging the fact that he's clearly based on Doc Brown.
Yeah. The thought I kept having was, as the creator of the show, it'd be really cool to see that and be like, oh, wow, what a crazy world we live in that. Or, what a crazy turn of events that this stupid idea I came up with is now, like, the guy it was vaguely based on is actually here being some part of it.
A disgraced nuclear physicist. Sorry, go ahead.
Extra Attack RPG says, at night there are 1-ton death boxes with blinding lights flying at you at lethal speed, and the only calming thought you can have is, well, they'll stay on the side of the 6-inch yellow line between us. Right.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. I think everybody's had that, not that you act on it, obviously, but everybody's had that kind of thought. Like, you understand the power you have holding the wheel.
Yeah.
You're like, if I just went like, skirt, I could just, like, do a lot of damage
Ruin.
to me or anyone else. And
Yeah.
knowing that everybody has that power, and a lot of people are not as
Psychos.
yeah, exactly. There you go. That's it's creepy.
When I was one of the most recent times I've driven, which was a few years ago now. I don't drive a lot. I was driving some of the way home on a trip from Michigan, visiting you to Philadelphia.
That was the last time you drove. Wow.
No, that wasn't the last time I drove. It's just one of the, I haven't driven more than 5 times since then, I would say.
Okay.
So, I was taken over for that leg of the trip, and the entire time I was on a highway. So driving on the highway is easy because you just fucking go, stay in your lane, and keep going very fast, and you're good. And it's kind of chill and it's fun. You can listen to a podcast. So I was driving, and the entire time, like at night, the whole highway was just like semi-trucks the whole way, back and forth, and so I'm driving next to these giant trucks and semi-trucks just scare the Jesus out of me because like you said, one wrong move, you skirt the wheel one way or the other, and you're ruining a semi-truck will do that, and they might not even notice. They'll just crunch. What was that? Did I hit
Must have hit like a raccoon.
The takeout box on the road or something like that. So semi-trucks just scared the poo-poo out of me. I don't like them. No, thank you. No more semi-trucks.
Semis.
I have a buddy he's a truck driver now, so his job is to drive semis for 12 hours a day. And good for him, because I would be terrified. Me having that job, I'd be I could never do that job. That would just be my worst nightmare.
I think it's less intense than you think, because like you said, it's all highway, and I would say most semis are stuck at about 65 miles an hour, so it doesn't get too intense, especially if you're paying attention and you know what you're doing and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of responsibility. You could crunch a car pretty easily.
Terrifying. But that's all I have to say about. That's all I have to say about that.
I like your dirt dog.
That's what I did for fan art for him. Says Shiny Dog. This is from the story they were telling us when. So Shiny Doggy did fan art for the person who had done the furry art for you guys. Because if so, that's very nice of you to do that. I think that's cool that you, you were throwing that fan a bone, not to,
cool.
because furries, dogs, but but that's cool you threw him a bone like that. That's cool that you sort of let them know hey, we see you, we appreciate you. I mean, if I was that person, I would be thrilled that the people who I took time out of my life to make the fan art for them recognized and engaged me like that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Extra Attack says, semi-truck drivers also do such long hauls every day, and it seems like most of them are only half aware of anything at any time. Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to shit on them, but it would be hard. I mean, let's put it this way. I've certainly worked jobs where I was very tired on the job, but I had to be there. And I imagine the same
Yeah.
goes for, or I was like feeling sick and I wasn't fully, my head wasn't fully in it. You know?
I've read like a bunch of articles, like, you know, like I said, like semi-truck drivers, a lot of times they're working 12-hour shifts, just driving for 12 hours a day, sometimes no breaks. I've read a lot of articles where it's like,
They don't have brakes?
sometimes they don't, yeah. Like if
Holy
they have to
shit,
make a
how do
certain
they
delivery
stop?
sometime. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming their only break would be like stopping for gas somewhere, but I've read a lot of articles where it's like...
You're missing my
talking
joke, but
about-
I'll let you go. I was talking like
I
car
see.
brakes.
No
Anyways,
brakes.
go on. We'll move on. from
Car
this.
brakes. You fucker.
Uh,
It's like that Offspring song, No Brakes, No Brakes, where they talk about not having brakes. But yeah, I've read a lot of articles where they're just like talking about like some truck drivers are just, because like you have to pay for the truck that you're driving, and a lot of times you buy the truck or you rent the truck or whatever, and then you're doing deliveries for a little while to pay off the truck, and then you have to do even more deliveries to, you know, actually get money for you know, living, like rent and food and things like that. So there's a lot of truck drivers who are just like overworked and tired and like doing long trips with like no stopping or anything like that, and that's terrifying.
yeah. Yeah.
Extra text says, I've done long hauls in 36-inch trucks and I found myself thinking I am more powerful than anyone else. Why should I care about anything? Yeah, that's the thing, is like those trucks will just smash anything, and that's terrifying. Like, it's so much power.
You don't want to get
behind one
smashed.
person's hands. Smash.
I would hate to be smashed by a truck.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of those people
Yeah.
that like to have sex with trucks. We talked about
Oh,
that
yeah.
on previous episodes. We don't need to get back into
You
that.
did, I
but
watched.
we
Have
see
you
you out
watched that
there, and
documentary yet?
we're sending you some fan art soon.
That's right.
No. I'm not sure I will.
No, yeah, I don't blame you if you don't. It was like, it wasn't like horrifying. Like, they didn't show, like, I guess you did
Yeah.
see the one guy jerking off on a car, but they didn't show you anything. But it was just horrifying because it's not like that's a particular person that you wanted to see jerking off on a truck.
Right.
That's
I don't have a
36
long
feet.
list of people I want to see jerking off on a truck. It's a
Yeah.
short list.
Extra text says that's 36 feet, not 30. Yeah, I meant to say feet. Obviously, it's not a 36-inch truck, because that'd be a very tiny truck. But yeah, it's quite the documentary. Honestly, the ending is really hot dog,
Seems like
hot
there's some
dog,
good-
hot diggity dog, watermelon.
Welcome,
In the
welcome.
chat.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is my
He's
Earth
referring
dog.
to
I
my
feel like I
dog
had
that
to-
is literally on fire.
Oh yeah, that is a hot dog right there. I felt like I had to color my Earth dog because otherwise what I was trying to do with the parts I felt like wouldn't come across as well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They say, how goes it? And I'd say it goes pretty well, Watermelon.
It's
I'm
good
a little
now
drowsy.
that you're here.
So happy to have you here. You know, it was just a shit show until you showed up. We were just
Dude,
really
other people
floundering.
weren't showing us the respect we demand.
They were like, do you have any ghost stories? And we were like, no, we have nothing to talk about, which was embarrassing.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, by the way. We have nothing interesting to talk about.
Yeah, if you're watching or if you've paid money to us, I'm so sorry.
We appreciate it very, very much.
We do appreciate all your support, everyone being in the chat, giving us options to draw, telling us your stories, keeping us engaged, asking us questions. All of it is much appreciated. You're all beautiful.
Makes
Thank you all
this
so much.
very, very fun to do. So, thank you. Let's see. Watermelon says, y'all have a good weekend. Yes. It was pretty good. It was busy for us. For me, anyways.
Was it busy for you?
Yeah, we went and met some friends from college yesterday. They live way up north, so it's like would have been about a 6-hour trip. So they drive down halfway, we drive up halfway, and we meet. Do it like once a year. That was fun. And then yeah, today I had children's birthday parties that I was invited to. I feel like it's important to
Stress that you were
mention that
invited
part
to
of
them?
it. Yeah, I was supposed to be
So
there.
were you the clown, or were you the puppeteer, or...
You know, yes to both, but not professionally.
Oh, you're just there
just for the love of the game.
Did you get drunk?
No.
Did you drink at all during those parties?
Yeah, I had.
Okay.
I had.
Good. I mean, that's fair.
I had 2 margaritas.
There you go. That's my kind of kids party.
Yeah. So there you go. Elias Den says, ever think of playing Prop Hunt on the stream?
I've never played Prop Hunt, honestly.
I've played like versions of it way back in the day, like Gary's Mod or like forget what else. What other game?
I think it started with Gary's Mod. I think like Gary's Mod was the OG Prop Hunt, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I've done that. Not around the stream. I wonder if I'm trying to think of a way we could do it in some kind of like artistic way. I'm not sure that's possible, but I'm just.
I mean,
maybe I could draw. It wouldn't be that fun to watch. I was trying to think of ways. I'm like, maybe I'll workshop this off air. I was thinking of like maybe I'll have a bunch of drawings that I prepare, and then one of them is the correct one you're trying to guess. But there's got to be more to it than that. That's not really.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, you picked it.
I think with Prop Hunt, you can like the props have the. I actually don't know how it works. I have no idea. I think like when it comes to Prop Hunt, it's like you're in a room full of barrels, and it's kind of like red light, green light, where you're just trying to like move when the person
not around
isn't looking at you. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I've played it like on Gary's Mod. It's fun. But it's been many years. Expert Tech RPG says Brandon at children's parties is one of those bootleg Mickey Mouses who does TikTok dances. It's true. That's my day job. I'm an artist and illustrator. That's my passion. But to pay the bills, I dress up as Mickey Mouse. It's a costume I made in my basement. It does not look. I have to keep it off model enough that I don't get cease and desist orders. But at the same time, I'm not talented enough to make a mascot costume, so it just kind of works out that it doesn't look like him that much. It kind of looks like he melted in the dryer. The kids cry. I cry, but they can't see it.
I would. Yeah, I would cry. I'm a big fan of those videos of like mascots at like kids parties who like clearly like are obviously doing the mascot gig to make a buck. Like who isn't? But they also know how to bust out some sick moves. So like
I saw one just recently.
Oh yeah.
It was a guy it was like a dance circle. Maybe you've seen this one. And it was a guy in a Woody from Toy Story costume, and he was just like he probably is a professional dancer too, because he's just like full on dancing, and there's like him versus a kid, and the kid's just kind of like standing there, and he's just like full on like break dancing in a Woody costume, and there's like a whole circle around. It's just the first thing I thought of when you said that.
I love those videos because they crack me up. I love it when it's like a Squidward, like especially when it's a character who's known to be kind of a fuddy-duddy. So it's just like a bunch of kids at a party going like, "Hey, Squidward, do the fatty wop," and then like they'll just like start dancing like, or it's like you ever see that drummer who's in like the giant like plush suit of like some Japanese mascot or something like that, and they're playing the drums and just absolutely killing it on the drums?
I don't think I have.
Oh my god, I'll have to post a link to that.
Post that in the Discord.
Actually, so I for some they're called Stick Figure. Or no, Nyango. I'm sorry, Stick Figure is the person who uploaded the video. But it's this person. They're just in a big red mascot, like it looks like a Furby almost, but it's not. It's cuter. But they're in it and they're just playing the drums like crazy. And so I went sort of down a rabbit hole. Like this video came out a while ago. I guess it the video came out a while ago. I'm not sure how long, but then like there was a couple videos of that person in the suit drumming like that, and then they just sort of stopped uploading videos for a while, and then I think like this year they actually like started posting videos again of like them just drumming crazy songs and things like that. I'll post a link to the original video that kind of went viral in the DrawBomb, but it's funny. It's there's nothing to it other than the guy in this suit is just like shredding on the drums, but it's super fun.
Still sounds cool to watch. And it's gotta be hard to do in that costume.
God, they make it look easy, but it doesn't look easy. Like, even though they're making it look easy, it still does not look easy.
Yeah. someone who's very good at what they do.
Yeah. While you're coloring those dogs, I'm gonna post some links of the other things we've talked about in the chat, which I think are just the G.I. Joe videos, right?
Yeah, I believe so. That's all I can think of at the moment. Also say it one more time. If nobody does, that's fine. I'll be very sad, but it's okay. But if anybody has drawn any elemental dogs, post them in the draw along with us. We'll show it on the show next episode,
We'll go
or
through, like,
this episode if you have some.
Yeah. If you don't post anything, we'll go through like a brief period of malaise and being real sad and stuff, but then we'll get over it eventually.
Lose our will to live, but only for a little while, not permanently.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
We'll bounce back.
It won't. We'll be back next week either way.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
wait,
No,
next week I think
that's
is
2 weeks, I think. The 20th. Yeah, we can say it now. 20th, we will not be doing the show. That's a couple weeks from now.
Yeah.
I have family coming into town, and as much as I've considered just making them wait in the other room while I do this, I think I'm just gonna skip that show.
I think that's fair. Wild Melon says, "Be fun to watch Hoarding Buried Alive with y'all. The poop lady is pretty cringe."
Does she hoard
I don't
poop?
want to watch that. Yeah, it sounds like she hoards.
What
poop,
makes her
and
the
I don't
poop
wanna
lady?
watch that. Yeah, what's the poop lady? That's
Tell
terrifying
us
to think
about
about.
that person. My
Wild
mind
Melon
is...
also... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I don't know what the poop lady is.
I mean, I don't want to know, honestly. I feel like I couldn't stomach watching that. Like, hoarding plus poop is just a horrifying combination to me.
They don't go well together. Although, you know, lots of supply, not that much demand.
True. You know, when you put it like that, it makes me want to throw up even harder.
There's no reason to save it. You got
no
more
reason
all the
to save
time.
Yeah, you're always going to be making more poop. I don't get it, lady. She basically hoards shit. Yep, nope, I don't want to watch that. Nope,
Why am I
exactly
laughing?
what I worried.
I should not laugh. It's not. It's a mental illness. It's not
She
funny.
has a disease, Brandon.
I'm sorry. Her house is filled with poop.
This is like that. There's that Mitch
Not
Hedberg
funny.
bit where he's like, you know, alcoholism is a disease, but it's the only disease you can be yelled at for having. It's like, damn it, Jerry, you have lupus. it's funny because it's true, but yeah, I don't want to watch that.
No, that sounds unpleasant.
No, thank you.
You'll watch a documentary about having sex with cars, but hoarding poop? No.
Yeah, I feel like those are a clear distinction as to why they're.
I agree with that, by the way. I'm not trying to like say that's hypocrisy. I agree with you. I'm just saying. Just saying.
It's a separation there.
There is, for sure. I'm finished coloring this last one. We are past 10 o'clock, so it's time to start winding down.
Time to start wrapping it
It's
up.
time!
Oh,
Oh, the
here's your
abuse.
pizza, sir.
The absolute abuse I put up with. I don't need this, okay?
I don't need this. Thank you very much.
I'm becoming a man. Stop being jealous.
I'm sorry. I'm just
I have a hormone
waiting for
deficiency.
my testicles to descend.
One day they will, and then you'll be sorry. I'll have the last laugh, and it will be in a baritone.
They'll be an easy target. Well, gosh, why you call
Watermelon.
it your explosion?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, go into it. I was just gonna read it, but I'll leave that to you.
Oh, she never flushes her toilet. She just scoops it out and dumps it on the lawn.
So
That's
she
what-
uses the toilet.
Yeah, you'd think she could make her life a lot easier by just
Cut out the
dropping
middleman,
it.
lady.
Yeah, just fucking. What do you use? Like, what do you think she's using? Like one of those like fish tank nets, you know? Like.
She hoards it in the yard. That's not even hoarding it.
Fertilizer.
Can't you just like keep it in a jar or something?
Well, I guess
The
like
yard
if
is
you put it
no
in the
place
yard,
to save it.
it's good for growing more grass or flowers. You know, it's fertilizer.
Boy, it really brings down the neighbor's property value, though.
Oh yeah. Hey, why is there a bunch of shit in that person's yard? Oh, we don't like to talk about her. She's
She's the poop lady.
She's a poop lady.
Watermelon says I
She's
can
a-
share a bit of it real quick. No, you
Thanks.
cannot.
It's all good.
let me quick stop you there. No, you cannot.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to. We don't mean to cut you off, but please don't.
I do.
Oh yeah, we mean to cut you off. Actually, we're very specifically. That is what we're doing right now. Is cutting you off. Morgan says it spares the septic tank, I guess, which is true. It does.
True. Think of all the money that you'll save on having that cleaned like once every 10 years.
We just had the neighbors across the street. They replaced their entire septic tank like 2 weeks ago or something like that. So it was just like
It's a thing
for
that
a
needs to be
week,
done.
we would just hear like constant construction going on outside of our house.
It's-
Very loud.
And
That's it.
the smell of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, thankfully, no. Well, a little bit, yeah.
No more than usual, of course.
More than usual. I couldn't tell if it was dog shit or if it was people shit. I think it was dog shit though, because dog shit smells very different from people shit. And if you
It's
ever
true.
shit a shit that smells like dog shit, you should
ever
get
shit
your
a
checked
shit?
out because that shit is shit. That's a shit right there.
That's true. And that's, that's a true fact. Let's see, chat says, that's more compost than anything else.
Yeah.
And then Wamelon posted a link that I recommend nobody clicks on.
Kind of makes your life not seem bad when you're not having a good day. Oh, excuse me. My God, let me try saying that again. Kind of makes your life not seem so bad when you're not having a good day.
You son of a...
You motherfucker. Gosh. Well, while you color that explosive dog, should we start doing the plugs and the outro
We should.
and stuff like that? Okay.
We should.
So, Brandon, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Matter of fact, I do. Check out my episode of Hoarders, where I shit in the lawn and collect it. It's it aired a long time ago, so you're making this very difficult for me. You son of a bitch. I'm supposed to talk and make bad jokes and draw a dog explosion while you do this to me. Not easy task. Tune in to DrawBomb on Mondays. You're here now. We appreciate you very much. But come back and draw along with us. We'd love it if you did.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but you really should.
We appreciate all the people who are here today.
It's been great.
Being here, giving subs, saying hi, rating us. It's all appreciated. That's super nice. It makes every episode better when we have people popping in and hanging out. And even though we did not tolerate the poop video,
We have to draw a line somewhere.
yeah. Wamelon says wanted to make a bismuth dog. What's a bismuth dog? Is that?
Is that an element? It's a type of rock, I thought, right?
Oh yeah, it's a brittle crystalline white metal with a slight pink tinge. Interesting. That's cool.
It's a marine. Wait, I said it's a marine. It's a mineral marine. Never mind. Let's try to do a Breaking Bad thing, and then I had a brain issue.
It's not a rock. It's a mineral.
Trying to do a Hank Schrader.
I forgot about that. That was funny. I love how he gets into minerals because he's just got nothing else going on in his life for a while. It's a good show.
It's a good show.
I'm almost finished with Modern
that's
Family. I should start.
A recommendation we're dropping for everyone.
Next.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Breaking Bad. Check it out. It's this new show that I found.
Yeah, it's
good.
it's pretty obscure.
It's a terrible
No one's
review on
talking
Rotten
about it.
Tomatoes, but I think otherwise. I think it's worth watching.
Did you plug DrawBomb, right? Did you plug that when I said?
I plugged it. I did.
All right, cool.
You have anything to
Real
plug
quick.
in?
No, not anymore. I mean, I got some projects I'm working on, but nothing I can really point people towards yet.
Right.
Hopefully soon.
Cool.
Real quick, I'm gonna go to the Breaking Bad IMDb page, and I am going to see what the worst reviews for Breaking Bad were.
Okay. I would love to see them. Hear about them. Boy, what a show. Thanks everybody who tuned in. Wamelon says, I've only watched it like 20 times. Yeah, it's a great show. I haven't watched it that many times, obviously, but I'm a fan. Certainly,
it's a very
I
good
probably
show.
watched it from start to finish probably 3 times.
I would say it's about the same for me. I was very fortunate in that I started watching the show, and then like I finally caught up when the last season was airing, like right after they shot the kid. Spoiler alert. But I got caught up in time for like the last 2 episodes of the show, so I got to see like the last 2 episodes of Breaking Bad as they aired, and the rest of the show I was like the whole time I was catching up. So it was cool because we had like a whole watch party for the last episode, which was a lot of fun. And
That's cool.
yeah.
On that note, do you think I should play us off and we can rate a channel?
Sure. Give me a sec. I'm gonna read this.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad. Sorry, the
these
reviews.
Okay, so it is slow and boring. There is many better series, which is very less rating, and 9.5 for this is more than it deserves. Overrated.
Yeah, there is many different shows that is better rated.
Yeah. Bad. ... Only the last season is watchable. The rest is tedious and very slow. I was waiting all the time for it to get better, but it never did. There are some episodes that you can easily skip because the plot don't move forward. There is an episode where the entire plot is catching a fly. I've seen fanboys trying to defend that episode in every possible way, but there is no excuses. Some episodes just suck. Overall, Breaking Bad is a slow, boring, and overrated series.
I like that
That's
episode.
funny,
Maybe
I
I'm a
love that
fanboy.
episode.
I am a fanboy,
Like,
I guess, but I
am
try to be fair in my praises.
Yeah, all of these reviews are like, the show is boring, the show is slow.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that from like actually people I know. Recommend it too. They're like, it's too slow for me, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from, but I also disagree. Personally,
It's one of those shows where like it's definitely too slow, but the payoff is so worth it, in my opinion.
yeah. At times I would agree with that. I
as-
still think it's.
as-
I like the slow pace. I think it's like a. I think the metaphor I always use is like chess. It's like chess moves. It's like a gradual thing, and then it blows
Yeah.
up.
It's it's always like it's the rubber band effect where like there's a lot of tension and then it snaps and then like shit just goes wild and then the rubber band goes back.
Right.
It's a lot of tension and release in that show, and there are some times where I've watched the show and I've been like, oh man, this is so slow, I'm having a hard time getting through the next episode, and then it's always worth it. So I always appreciated like the slowness.
You gotta build
There's a
the
slow
tension.
burn.
You can't just
Yeah.
jump right into it.
It's like that scene in Inglourious Bastards where they're in the underground bar and they just play like a card game for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then like
I love that
all of a
scene.
sudden a shootout. That's a great scene. All of a sudden like a shootout breaks out and like it's over in 20 seconds. But you watch like this 20-minute scene for like this one less than a minute payoff, and it's like so good though because of all that tension that builds up. Like the whole time, as things are sort of progressing, you're like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? Where's this going? What are they gonna do? So yeah, it's a good show. I'm gonna read one more review, and then I feel like we can really sign off then.
Okay.
As ugly as Walt's underwear. This was boring show, with lots of murders of good characters. I did not find any acting or emotions or music or visual part, i.e. there was nothing entertaining or touching. I kept watching only because of 2 characters, but when they got killed I realized that the show became empty. My favorite episode is the last one when this all ended in proper way. Also, what is lesson learned from this? If you have a crisis of middle age, you need to become a criminal instead of trying to support in your family and make some efforts to improve your life.
Yeah, I'd say yes. That's the message of the show.
That is 100% what they're trying to say, especially because you get the point that they're glorifying that lifestyle by how their whole life was ruined by the end of the episode, the end of the show,
Yeah.
and everything like that. And then just real quick, I'm gonna read the chat because we were. Watermelon likes to think that he left Walter White left his family from Malcolm in the Middle. SNL did a weird skit where he wakes up in Malcolm in the Middle and it was all a dream.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. It's pretty fun.
And yeah, no, it's all good. It's a good show. Which they can't say about this one that you guys just sat through, but I do want to say thank you everybody for joining us today.
Thank you so much for watching. We had, oh man, we had so many people. I don't know if I got a good list of everybody, but
Gosh, want to try?
sure. We got Oh, man, we got Wamel, we got Van Pleb, we got Extra Tech RPG, Leviathan Den. We had Matty F, Shiny Doggy.
Z was
had
there.
yes. We had
Zone
Grep,
Dog. Pack
Grepski.
Daddy.
Oh yeah.
And last but not least, we can't forget Goodika to 24 13OK15, who asked us if we wanted to become famous.
Our special guest, and I've thought about it a lot during the show. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah. So
Fame, take it away. Oh, I see a limo pulling up out front. Okay, I guess that's for me.
Okay, well you're off to be rich. Oh yeah, also Hendrix 4444. Yeah, you go hop in that limo and play us on out of here.
Play us out. I'm gonna raid. I Can Be Danny. I think that's always a fun one to go to.
Yeah.
We love him. So
yeah,
thanks for
we're big
watching,
fans of
everybody.
Danny. Thanks for everybody. Wamelon says 11 out of 10 stream, even though I was here for 10 minutes, and then they posted a bunch of I Can Be Danny emojis, which is good because it means that they are a Danny fan as well.
We're all Danny fans. Some of us don't know it yet.
We're all
Thanks for
Danny
watching,
fans.
everybody. Bye.
Well, bye.